जाओ सिमरन जाओ, जी ले अपनी जिंदगी,
मुझे जीने दो।
मैं संगी हूँ।
Anand Ranganathan is the last Englishman left in India who insists on wearing suits and boots even in peak summer.
We have Sushant Paji. Now he is the Dharminder of our Samosa Caucus.
मैं तेरा खून पी जाऊंगा।
ये काट देना यार।
I have with me the Real Samosa Caucus.
Did you know that UPA did more border fencing with Bangladesh than NDA? जनता को गुस्सा दिला दो, ये कर दो, वो कर दो, और फिर एक्शन कुछ होता नहीं।
What's happening in Tamil Nadu?
Udayanidhi is a very smart cookie. The DMK is still going to win an absolute majority. And the same thing is going to happen in Bengal as well. Mark my words.
Can we talk about radicalism in Bangladesh, which is constitutionally secular? But what has happened now?
I don't see secularism in the strictest sense of the word returning to Bangladesh.
Our next terror attack will happen from Bangladesh. This one had a Bangladesh connection. Our next one will be from Bangladesh. I stood up for Nupur. As I stand up for anyone, free speech is period. This one guy said something, some tweet something, which got quoted on a YouTube video with somebody in New Mewat saw. Now that person in New Mewat goes and threatens another podcaster in his house in Gurugram for podcasting me, saying he wants to blow me up and blast and all of this. Turns out this guy is actually from Bangladesh in New Mewat. And these guys are roaming around with a weapon to get through me, including they broke at my house.
People who are now cribbing about propaganda movies. Weren't Raj Kapoor's movies propaganda movies?
New misogynistic tweets.
He's a woman, he can't be misogynist.
Yeah.
Please.
You want equality, this is what equality looks like.
There's nothing to sort out.
Teenal sutrapun ullarum. Arade navinal sutravarum.
ठीक है.
What is the translation of this Tirukkural?
क्या बकबक कर रहा है?
ये रोटी बेल के हमको खिलाती है।
मैं खिलाती हूँ।
एक बार रोटी बेल के स्मिता एक बार।
हाँ मैं
मेरी बीवी को सिखा दो।
क्या?
उसके अंडरवेयर शेप रोटी बनती है उसकी। I only say, अरे आज एक्सेल बना है, आज डबल एक्सेल बनी है।
Can I just point out the misogyny of him expecting his wife to
belo the roti? How to bel? I'm sorry, this is chicken Caesar salad, no?
Are you kidding me?
Namaste, Jai Hind. You're watching or listening to another edition of the ANI podcast with Smita, Prakash. I have with me the Real Samosa Caucus, something that you've been waiting for a long time. You know, guys, wherever I travel in the country or outside, everybody wants to know just one question from me. When are you guys coming back on the show? So I'm so glad you're here. And of course, we got out from Delhi and its pollution and come here to Alwar. In Rajasthan. Behind me you can see the lovely hills, and we are at the Kesroli fort managed by the Neemrana Hotels group. So I have with me out here Anand Ranganathan, which all of you guys know. Anand Ranganathan, he's been on the show several times, and Anand Ranganathan, he is the Javed Akhtar of the Samosa Caucus.
Let me just rub my knees with the oil.
So why do we call him the Javed Akhtar of the Samosa Caucus? Because
Leave the introductions to us.
Okay, so why is Anand Ranganathan the Javed Akhtar?
See, my friend Anand Ranganathan is both the last Nehru and the first Javed Akhtar. He's a Nehru because he's the last Englishman left in India who insists on wearing, suits and boots even in peak summer. Literally the last Englishman in India. And he is the Javed Akhtar of TV dialogues. Even Javed Akhtar and his lisp come nowhere close to our beloved Anand Ranganathan.
Because he's lyrical and has a take on every issue.
Yeah.
Amazing. And then we have Sushant Paji. Now he is the Dharminder of our Samosa Caucus. He's like...
मैं तेरा खून पी जाऊंगा।
And why do we say that? Because he is completely underrated in this Samosa Caucus group.
What are you talking about?
he's-
Dude, I am supposed to introduce him.
Okay. No, why I chose him
पाकिस्तान
as...
में सिर्फ 2 लोगों से डर लगता है पाकिस्तानियों को,
धुरंधर और
एक आसिफ मुनीर और एक सुशांत सरीन.
Yeah.
अच्छा आई तो धुरंधर
ये इंट्रोडक्शन काफी.
अननोन गनमैन एंड
इसने इतने लोगों को कहा इसने इतने लोगों को कहा रिश्ते में तो हम तुम्हारे बाप लगते हैं.
So, I mean, why I call him the Dharmender is because he's like, he has everything Punjabi about him, like everything Punjabi, and he's like such a sweetheart when it comes to discussing
and good looking.
and discussing
Good-looking and
Pakistan.
handsome too.
Good-looking and
Can
handsome.
say the nastiest of things about Pakistan, but with a grin,
Yeah.
and which makes it palatable to everybody. I'm sure even
not
in
to the
Pakistan.
Pakistanis.
I don't think the Pakistanis find him very palatable.
And then we have Tehseen Poonawalla. He's the Shah Rukh Khan, Amir Khan, and
And I did the Dhurandhar dance in the Sarson Ka Khet. So
And the-
sabki aaj
you have to watch that.
Yeah.
You have to watch Tehseen in the Sarson Ka Khet doing
the Dhurandhar
the stuff.
dance.
I'm supposed to introduce you.
Yes,
I
yes.
should
I thought
already
you're supposed to
introduce you
introduce.
as Amir Khan, all the Khans of the Bollywood. You are rolled into
आपको
one.
मेरे बारे में 2 अच्छे शब्द बोलने की कोई दिक्कत है? Just speak nicely about me. Say.
Haan, speak nicely.
I had a lot of good things to say about you, but I'm overawed by your performance last night and your weeping on television because some people committed suicide. So
Yeah,
I'm a
wasn't
little,
that?
I was very distraught after watching you.
Yeah,
But I
so
thought you
was
were
I.
being very disingenuous. But you're a very
No, no.
sweet guy otherwise.
I was very upset.
So, but you know, when
you're
Tehseen, when you first came on the Samosa Caucus, the comment section was, how does he fit into this group? You should have Shehzad out there. And I think that lasted for about 2 episodes of Samosa Caucus. And after that, everybody was like, never replace this guy from the Samosa Caucus.
Right.
So it's great to have you. And of course, Abhijit, the Kevin Spacey, the Joe Rogan,
Hello.
everything that you can think about. I mean, of course, his Twitter
He's
feed.
the Nick Fuentes.
yeah.
He's the Nick Fuentes of.
The X feed.
Galidas.
Galidas.
That was my introduction for you.
So X feed of Abhijit is not to be read by anybody under 18. Please, that comes with that health warning.
Abhijit is banned in Australia.
He's a
After 18, it's bad.
love to hate him, hate to love him. It comes with all those advisories when he's a friend of yours. So you
me
have to
introduce
take
him.
him for whatever it is. He's not what most people think he is. And I'll leave Tehseen to introduce
So
Abhijit.
this is true. Just like Smita said, everywhere I go, they talk about the Samosa Caucus. But out of every 5 people who speak to me, 4 want me to call up Abhijit. And I've done that many times from a barista or simply somebody who's at a hotel and say they want to speak to him. Abhijit has a massive fan following. I'm not making this up. And people keep telling me he's the Galidas of our times. He is the Dhurandhar of Twitter and X.
Yeah.
Not to read if
ये
you're
तो
below
गालियां
18.
देता ही है, इसकी एसोसिएशन में हमें गालियां पड़ती
हमको
हैं.
गालियां पड़ती हैं.
अभी मिली.
Exactly.
We are guilty by association.
Yes.
Yeah.
और इस इंट्रोडक्शन के बाद और मिलने वाले
Yeah,
हैं.
अच्छा, but
हाँ, ठीक.
since let me introduce you. You know, हम सबको गाली पड़ती है, but you know you are very unfairly pilloried because he's a gentleman and a sensible person from the other side of the divide. And it's very seldom that you see sensible people on the other side of the divide.
अच्छा, ये
Once
ऐसा
in a
नहीं
while
बोलना.
you switch over, but otherwise one of the most gentleman persons I've met.
Realistic
Really
take on everything.
and a very sweet guy. So yeah.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So should we head to the shaded area?
Yes.
Okay.
And the only celebrity among us.
Only celeb. That's true.
No, Abhijit. भाई बिग बॉस में तो ये आया था हम
But
दोनों आए
Abhijit
थे.
is
I wanted to start as to why we are shooting it out here to get away from the pollution, but I really don't want to start with the pollution topic, the worst thing. And now that we are breathing clean air and we are in clean.
मैं तो कहना चाहता हूँ I can't breathe because my lungs are so accustomed to
Yeah,
killing.
same here.
सांस नहीं आ रहा मुझे यहाँ पे.
I went to Jaipur recently and I felt sick because I'm so
Clean
used
air.
to.
Yeah.
No, but you know what I want to start with? I want to start with that video. Did you see that Shadi ka video of Kangana and Supriya, Supriya
Naveen
Sule,
Jindal's.
Kangana Ranaut, and Naveen Jindal's thing. And then, at the Sangeet. And, we were talking about Tehseen being one of the sane people from the left, and then there's the insane person on the right out here. So, everybody fights with each other. कि हम इनके supporter हैं, फलां के supporter हैं. And here are these politicians for whom people are spilling blood, who are all dancing together, making merry.
Yeah, but this is something which people in India seem to have forgotten. And this is something which I also blame the politicians. You know, when they come on television screens, they will go after each other like there's no tomorrow, right? With a vengeance. The moment you step outside the studio, everybody is sugar and honey, right? People who are watching that thing, the shows, they think that all of these guys are going to be daggers drawn the moment they walk out of the studios. That's not the case. And there has always been a certain decency, or has been, I don't know if it still exists, in Indian politics, which unfortunately is not there or does not seem to be there anymore.
Amongst the supporters or the politics?
I think even within the politicians, there is now a lot of. So there is that one segment which, as you were saying about that wedding, who are okay, we have political differences and we go after each other, but there is a certain space in which we all are friends.
But why
and we can do work.
Which means that, Anand, you're on TV debates almost every night, right? Is this fake, the going for each other by politicians, by the spokespersons, and after the cameras are off, are they all just friends? And are people getting divided in their living rooms saying, ye ganda hai, ye achhi hai?
Yeah, there's a bit of that, but to be honest, there's only twice I think I have seen Modi ji break out into the heartiest of laughs, you know, जिसमें no restraint वाला laughter होता है ना, वैसे हमने मोदी जी को कभी देखा नहीं. 2 बार मैंने देखा उनको. एक बार जब फॉरेन लीडर्स के साथ वो हंसते हैं, तब वो एकदम ऐसे पीछे थ्रो हिज हेड बैक एंड लाफ्स, और दूसरा एक बार सीताराम येचुरी के साथ देखा. तो उनके दोनों लड़ रहे होते हैं और वहां पे वो पूरा हंस रहे होते हैं. आई थिंक देयर इज अ बिट ऑफ दैट.
But it's inauthentic in the TV studios, isn't it? Like, what is your take on
Half
this?
of it is true. Half of it is true.
I think amongst people who've done a lot of TV, have been doing TV sometimes, say a few years, there is a certain amount of respect, decency, and accepting another point of view. And you don't cross a certain invisible line. I think with the new spokespersons on all sides, there is this idea of being personal and being abusive, because I also think comes from lack of content. When you don't have content, you start getting personal. If you have enough content to speak, I don't think you need to be personal.
Why is there not enough content in politics?
Because they don't want to read.
Listen to these guys.
They don't study. They don't study anything.
They don't study. वो chat GPT पे या Grok पे जितना उतना पढ़कर आते, and if Sushant asks them one question out of syllabus, they're gone. They have no idea. They have zero idea what they're talking. So that is what happens. And then the rhetoric becomes, you have to put that rhetoric out. Period. So I think that sometimes is taking away from your capacity to think and articulate your point.
I think
Do you lose a friend every hour with every tweet that you do?
No, surprisingly, I don't. You know, I would say.
So what are these?
He loses one friend and he gains 2.
exactly. So I would say 90% of the Congress are very dear friends of mine. Right? There has never been an issue there. There are some people in the Congress who don't like me, big deal. Lots of SP guys are friends of mine.
And your misogynistic tweets, will you please explain that?
What misogynistic tweets
So,
exactly?
you know,
He's a woman, he can't be a misogynist.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay.
First, I identify as a woman. Second, I'm equal opportunity. You want equality, this is what equality looks like.
Because you
Don't-
abuse
it's like-
even men, right?
So don't see the moment you claim you want equality, but then can't take it like a man. Don't expect equality from me. I'm going to treat you like dirt.
So equal opportunity offences coming
Now,
your way.
the very curious thing about that wedding was, if you notice, Supriya Sule is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. She's friendly with everyone. Okay. Kangana, I don't know. I've never met or whatever, but Naveen Jindal has always been affable. Off screen, he's never been on screen as far as I know. Naveen
No,
Jindal.
I'm not
in
talking
BJP
about
now?
just,
He's in BJP now,
just
but
one
he's-
wedding. It's unfair to talk about a wedding.
But it's very curious that one of the people dancing out there has a big issue with anybody being friends in private. But that person, of course, is free to be friends with whoever they want.
But you admire that person.
I hugely admire that person.
But
I
also
think
that
I'm
person,
the-
So you're talking about
is
that
not
someone who's got education from quote
whatever,
unquote
we're not
from
naming. But the point is
small time
that-
evangelical
that these
American town.
persons are probably dancing and mixing and not necessarily talking to the people that they are dancing with on the stage. That's also possible.
That's also perfectly possible.
that they are little planets
No, how
in
can
the
you?
solar
How can you? When it's a shadi ka dance, how can you not talk? There's rehearsal together. You will get the steps.
See, not everybody is like you, not talking to everybody.
No, but still, I mean,
But Shadi, who's
mein to
talking?
how
I'm
you-
concentrating on butter naan and kadhai
You are
paneer.
at another level. But by
Plate
the way,
se
I'm
jab
very
tak
upset
Paneer
with
kha rahe ho
you. But
kya?
by the way, I'm
After
very
all this
upset
fake
with you.
paneer story.
I'm very upset.
Okay.
God. Every time I come late, you guys start. Today he came late.
He
you all
came
waited.
late.
And you all
I know.
waited for
Right,
him.
traffic.
First time I
नहीं,
came
नहीं,
on time.
कोई मतलब
No,
नहीं
no,
है.
we all came on the same route. There was no
But
traffic.
how?
He
I-
left late.
Yeah,
you left late.
I left at
Except-
9:23.
But listen, you will.
You were meant to leave at 8.
No, if you.
Yeah.
No,
if you
8:30.
8:30.
Once you get on the highway, it is super smooth. It is getting onto the highway
Yeah.
and getting off the highway. That's the problem.
It's the cities that
You
are
know,
broken.
Yeah, exactly. It's the
That's true.
cities that are broken. The highways are superb.
But even these highways, they keep digging up the highways and resurfacing the road, blocking one side of it and creating a traffic jam. And one thing Gadkari ji needs to do in the night is these trucks that drive on the right side of the highway. He
So
has to
the
get in some
trucks,
technology.
there has to be this technology, yes, and not just that. You'll see these truckers going like because they want to keep chatting with each
Correct.
other. They
Together.
will take up all four
Parallel,
lanes and chat on the highway. Even if you look at all these now, because Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, there's lots of these handles who do they specialize only in car crash videos. You look at them, 90% of those videos are happening because a truck is on the wrong lane, blocking the way. I'm sorry, but trucks are a real danger. I mean, even in Delhi after 10 p.m. when they're allowed to enter Ring Road and things like that, they will be on the overtaking lane where they have no business
And
to
they don't
do.
have
Abhijit,
tail lights. A lot of them
I
don't have tail
agree.
lights.
I agree with you. But you know, if we've been doing Delhi Jaipur by road for like ever since we were children, probably. And by the time you reach Alwar, we are in Alwar right now. By the time you reach Alwar, you saw at least 2 or 3 trucks overturned on the side. And then from Alwar to Jaipur, you saw about at least 4 to 5 crashes on the way.
And they have a
Knock on wood,
language.
it's not that bad now. Even though it's fast moving traffic, I'm not saying that you know it doesn't happen. But then there's Pune, Mumbai
look,
also,
a lot
which
of
is
these-
terrible.
Yeah.
Pune,
A lot
Mumbai
of
is a
these
great
roads,
highway.
if you had gone from Delhi to Jaipur 8-9 years back on the old road,
Yeah.
you would see a heck of a lot more trucks.
Yeah.
Now the thing is, you see trucks few and far between because you know
The
a
toll.
truck speed is about 50 to 70 maximum that they can do, Indian trucks. And with these roads, they still can't get into the kind of crashes that they used to get
Also
into
the
before.
tolls. The tolls are expensive now.
Yeah, listen, I think the crashes also used to happen because we have now a system, you know, everybody who's been flying has been suffering for the last 1 week because of certain new regulations which have been brought on pilots. You need those regulations for truck drivers.
Yeah.
Because some of them are made
True.
to drive for long hours. They fall asleep,
Yeah.
and you know
they all
it's inhuman the way the kind of conditions in which some of these truck drivers work. Again,
वो
our
राहुल
trucks have
राहुल गांधी
improved.
भी यही कह रहे थे.
Our trucks have
Canadian
improved.
truck drivers.
यार वो Canadian truck drivers में भी वो खैर वहाँ पर there's another issue out there where most of these guys don't have licenses and don't know how to drive. In fact, nobody in India really knows how to drive anyways. But the point is that in a lot of these the trucks themselves, you know, if you look at the Indian trucks, I don't think in the last 70 years we've changed the design of Indian trucks.
The
They
center of
dri-
gravity is
why
outside
should they
the
be
body.
why should they be driving at 50 and 70? Why should they not be driving at 100? Abroad, when you go on expressways, you have those huge trailer trucks which are driving at very high speeds. They're driving.
But they're 12-wheelers
And
and
by the way,
14-wheelers
those
and
truck
stuff.
drivers abroad, they are the most skilled drivers.
Yeah,
if you
yeah,
see
these are
how
not
they
skilled.
negotiate
Yeah,
these guys
this
are
thing.
not
Exactly.
Here, these truck drivers are some of the worst drivers you'll come across.
Okay, we are sounding very classist in
no,
doing
it's not.
this.
No, it's not
No, it's
classist.
not
Yeah.
classist. I'm
It's a
sorry, it's
question of
not.
lives. Even their lives. In fact, we are
So,
empathizing with them.
the understanding is that there should be better training and
Yes.
the bodies of these trucks should be more conducive to these roads that we have now. They are
Exactly.
wide
Their
bodied.
language should be synchronized with what people understand. I mean, at one point of time, I had a truck in front of me, and it was night time. I think I was going to Chandigarh. That itself was another story because we took a taxi, and then through the rear view mirror, which was in the back, I could see the driver
my
dozing
God.
off. So I put him on the side and I drove
Yeah,
to
I've done that
Chandigarh.
too.
Yeah, you've done
I've
it.
done that too.
So this truck was just giving the indicator and I was waiting for him to move to the lane. and he just won't move to the lane.
That's true.
Then I came besides him and they said, क्या move क्यों नहीं? कह रहा मैं आपको बोल रहा हूँ इधर आ जाओ.
Because the indicator
no,
light
The
is
indicator was a language for him. कि आजा भाई इधर जा.
No. So on the highway, indicator is a language.
Yeah.
The indicator is yeah. On the highway, it is. He was
So
right.
you understand that?
Yeah.
ये
So
कौन
if
सी
you-
language है
No,
भाई?
no, but
So
if
on
you
a
have
अरे
a
highway-
dipper is उल्टा. यहाँ पे आप dipper दे रहे हो, आप कहना चाह रहे हो मैं जा रहा हूँ पहले.
Yes, that's
Abroad
true.
it is the other way around. Abroad it is इसको भी नहीं पता था.
No.
इसकी language truck driver वाली है ये.
No, but there's
and-
nothing wrong. That
No,
is
every
the
country
indicator.
has different. Like, you know, when you come to a crossing when there's no light, then you do one by one in many countries. Here, there's nothing like that. The bigger your car, the more light you
So
have.
on a highway, you got to give the dipper so that you can overtake from the front. You got to say
The moment you give a
And
dipper,
the guy gives an
international
indicator.
sign is that you wait.
No,
The
the
dipper is
Out
for.
here, when you give the
I didn't
dipper,
know.
It's like
means
रुक तो मैं चला.
That's what I know.
But everybody is doing that. Tuck, 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 tuck.
And the second thing is, I think a lot of these truck guys, poor fellows, are consuming a lot of narcotics to stay
Yeah,
awake.
that's
which
true.
is terrible.
And there's no check on
And there's no
narcotics.
check. Yeah.
There is an alcohol test, but there's no
No
narcotics
checks on-
check.
About 10-15 years
Did
back,
Rahul Gandhi talk about that?
Business
as
Yeah,
well?
that's also a
Standard
point.
had done a long, in-depth piece on this.
Okay.
I think Mihir Sharma's book referenced that in his, that last chance for the Indian economy, where apparently there is zero incentives for the truck drivers to reach at speed on time, number one. They idle because the only thing that the truck company owner wants is he wants a certain fuel efficiency ratio, which the truck cannot achieve at high speed. And the pressure on them to keep to the exact timelines given is so great that the Malik actually penalizes them and things like that. So they have to drive at all kinds of weird hours. Now, you don't let trucks into Ring Road at 10 p.m. at night. Theoretically, it's a good idea.
That's Delhi.
right.
Okay.
But the poor man who's been driving the whole day then has to wait at 10 p.m. and he can take that entire Delhi stretch only after 10 p.m. Bhai, soega kab wo? Right. So there is the system is fundamental till you're willing to synchronize all
So what
policy.
they do then
So
is
in
it
the
they
logistics
stop
policy-
at the
Is there a
entry
truckers
points?
union in India?
There is, but
There is,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
basically a lot needs to be done to make our roads safer. But I just recently did a podcast with this person who, a diplomat, who said that we also need to train people who come on television, which includes spokespersons, which includes experts, which includes defense experts, finance experts, especially defense experts. When it comes to national security, किसी की training नहीं है. कोई भी retired person comes, doesn't know what the Indian government's point of view is regarding. And when we are in the middle of an operation, because Sindoor is not yet over, when we are in the middle of an operation, they go on various TV channels and give a line as if representing Government of India, because Government of India doesn't take part in debates. So they represent, and then some of them wear the caps and come.
those badges and come.
And the badges. So it
Badges,
seems
yeah.
like they are speaking on behalf of the military when they are not part of the military anymore. And also many of them do not know because they have not interacted.
they're out of the loop.
They are out of the loop. Several years ago, 10, 15 years ago, similarly with diplomats or with defense experts. Do you guys agree that there should be workshops by think tanks for spokespersons and for experts?
They should.
Either by think tanks or even by media houses, who are calling them. So supposing you have 3 or 4 or 5 people on your panel, look, there's also a certain idiom on the basis of which you need to be talking to people. Many of the people who come do not know the idiom. They do not understand what is the audience you are addressing. Sometimes you are addressing a local audience. Sometimes you are addressing an international audience. Now, maybe if you are on a Hindi channel or any vernacular channel, you can, there is a local audience you are addressing. But if you are talking in, on an English channel, you also have an international audience that you are addressing.
Who are
And if
watching
you are
all this,
using lingo, which is which is understood within India but not outside India, then your messaging is wrong. So it's a science in itself which people need to be taught or at least be informed of. And people who are defense experts, when they come on screen, they have a certain expertise which none of us have. They have experience on ground. And when they are talking about how operations are done, stuff like that, they bring a lot to the table. But when they start talking about stuff about which they don't know anything, they mess it up. And the messaging which goes across
is probably not the messaging which should be going
It
across. So
happened
I
with
think
a friendly country, right? During Sindhu with Iran.
it's happened with many countries.
Right.
Yeah, it's not just with friendly countries. Look, even with some enemy countries,
Yeah. You should-
say for example China, there is a certain sensitivities involved when you are dealing even with
Correct.
China, right? You don't deal with China the same way you deal with Pakistan,
That's true.
right? You don't deal with Bangladesh the same way you deal with Pakistan. Okay.
Would you think
I have a
you
different take.
feel that you should?
I think more than training the people who come on the panels, I think it's the journalists and the interviewers who should be
anchors.
trained. Yeah, anchors.
So
It's
do
like-
you- is
and
there-
I give you an example. Just recently, Salman Rushdie was interviewed by Mishal Hussain for Bloomberg. I mean, of course, the guy is wrong. He's been fed, as he himself accepted, whatever knowledge I'm getting are from my friends and journalists in India. वो सब पता है कहाँ के होंगे, कौन होंगे. So I don't blame him. वो तो we are used to, पिछले 10 साल से यही चला आ रहा है. Not once did Mishal Hussain or Mashal Hussain, whatever this Pakistani, UK, British journalist.
Now, when you introduced her, the way you have introduced her,
Right.
why did you expect that she
अच्छा,
will?
नहीं हो सकता BBC किया. अच्छा, वो तो
अरे यार, come on,
डबल
BBC
इंट्रोडक्शन हो गया.
Again, you
Let-
say
let's
BBC.
go.
I'll just
be
finish
clear
it.
about one thing.
I'll just-
Mishal Hussein's grandfather was the original director of the ISI.
Oh, is that
You
right?
didn't know that?
I didn't know
Her
that. I didn't
maternal
know that.
grandfather
Oh.
founded the ISI.
Oh my God.
He was the
Okay.
inaugural director of the ISI.
But
I mean,
Suresh, I want to add to
look,
that.
this isn't training.
Yeah.
This is agenda.
Okay, fine.
but-
This is propaganda.
Yeah, should be. So I mean, so I didn't know that first of all. I because she's BBC and all that, now Bloomberg. Not once did she say this is bullshit or this point is not right. What about why you being selective? This thing is wrong, that thing is wrong. What about other states where BJP is not there? Look at, I mean, for example, we will talk. I hope we talk about the Karnataka hate speech bill. Nothing's been more draconian than that in
No,
the
we'll
last
come to that,
15
but
years.
let's-
Yeah,
I
let's
wanna
go
make a
into that.
point. I wanna-
Let's.
I wanna make-
Okay.
I wanna
But I just wanted to make a
Just
point.
make a
So
point
when
and then I wanna
journalists
come
don't do that,
to
na,
this, yeah.
you feel much more irritated than when panelists don't do it, because panelists का तो you ठीक है यार, उसको नहीं पता या उसका
नहीं,
कोई
but panelists
agenda है.
expertise लेके आते हैं ना. That's why they are invited, because they are expertise.
but see,
A
in
reporter
the
or
same-
a
in the same
journalist
example-
who's anchor, she or he is a general.
No, but in the same
Salman
example,
Rushdie because you wanted to shit on India. But it's as simple as that.
No, but
necessary.
Sushant, one
No,
second,
no,
one
it
second.
is.
No,
I'll
one
tell you
second,
why.
Abhijit, one
Do-
second.
do you-
the
do
point
you
with
get-
Salman Rushdie, the point with Salman Rushdie is everything that's gone bad to him has not gone bad because of fanatical Hindus. And please
bhai,
don't edit
Modi
this. One
unbanned
second.
his book.
Please don't edit this.
Unbanned in the
It's
sense
gone bad
allowed to-
because of fanatical people who follow their fanatical version of Islam. Don't edit this.
No,
This is the fact.
Yeah.
And if Salman Rushdie now comes and says,
But
I have a lot of problems.
I'll
with-
edit
I
it
have a lot
because
of
there is
problems.
no fanatical version of Islam. But don't edit that.
No.
then
वो क्या
I-
2 किलो दूध वाला?
I think that
Char
as much as I'm against the BJP, what defeats my purpose of defeating the BJP is when people like this get the platform and then they are going all against BJP or this so-called right-wing narrative when they don't put in facts. And these are the people who get an opportunity, not people like me who can defeat it on facts. And it pisses off. So I agree
Yeah,
with you
I
that
get
these
that.
journalists only want a select club who will say the same line
Yeah.
which nobody believes.
True.
Can I just defend the anchors here? The anchors get people who sell.
Yeah.
If
That's
you
the
remember,
algorithm.
This
Rage.
isn't the algorithm. This is the NDTV model. NDTV used to run several of these shows. One was called Left, Right, and Center, and this and that.
Nidhi.
And
Nidhi used to run it.
it always used to be the most inarticulate buffoon on the right against the most articulate character on the left, with two Naxalites pretending to be the center. Okay.
This is true.
This is true. And what happened was everybody took on that model.
Yogendra Yadav used to be.
Everybody took on that model and they changed it around to make it something else. Okay, which is that you would get, they pick and choose. In Tamil, the word is vadigattana muttal. Vadigatti is sieve.
He knows.
No, I know.
No,
He knows.
he knows
इसको
nothing.
edit कर देना.
ये कुछ नहीं जानता.
बाकी किसी को करो ना करो.
Nodding his head. Like he
No, no,
आनंद को
you're
सब
right.
पता है.
Vadigatti is a sieve.
Yes.
ठीक है, Muttal is an idiot, so a distilled idiot, right? So they get Vadigattana Muttals from the left, and you know why? Because it sells. They come and say stupid things, and it goes viral.
But I have
But
to say- I
why
have
you
to tell an
objecting
ND
to
but I
that?
have to
You
tell you an
also
NDTV
no
story.
1 minute. You
अब जैसे
also
विवेक श्रीवास्तव है.
One second.
you also tweet, you also say stuff on podcasts, and you also come on television channels and say the most bizarre things.
Yeah.
It's to go viral.
But see,
And that's why you're there.
No, you're confusing.
इसका
इसका
nature
nature
क्या करे, इसका दिल ही है.
पर लोग इसको बुलाते भी इसी वजह से.
You're confusing virality with I am a professional
So
maledictorian.
I'm just returning all the food because I'm on a diet. So I'm
अरे!
not eating.
This is unacceptable भाई, फिर मैं भी.
नहीं आप खाओगे. आप पतले हो, आप
नहीं,
खाओगे.
बिल्कुल नहीं.
I am a
मेरा weight बढ़ गया
professional
2 किलो.
maledictologist.
हाँ.
Okay, a maledictologist is one who studies the science of galis. Okay, there was actually a
कहाँ से
actual
कहाँ
academic
पहुँचे हैं?
journal dedicated to my stream of study, which was called Maledicta. It started in 1977.
या पता नहीं कहाँ बात कर रहे हैं.
कहाँ
But I have
पहुँच
to
गया
tell you
ये.
this
दो
story
तीन
in
गाली
short.
दे चल.
Okay,
Very
ये-
short. I was on NDTV. I won't tell you the anchor's name, and the other side is the BJP.
When?
This was before the Adanis took
तो
over.
ये बताओ ना. फिर
No, before the
पुराना
Adanis.
वाला NDTV.
पुराना वाला NDTV. अब वो बीजेपी वाले
Disclaimer: we've all been on that पुराना वाला
पुराना
NDTV
वाला।
also.
अब वो
Yes,
बेचारे
even I
बीजेपी
have
वाले ने
oh my
वो
God.
बीजेपी वाले ने सब अपनी बात रख दी. अब आई वाज ऑल रेडी कि मुझे अपने पॉइंट्स रखने हैं. अब एंकर ने शुरू किया, एंकर साहिबा ने शुरू की. वही सारे मेरे पॉइंट्स बोल रही है, काउंटर कर रही है बीजेपी को. अब खत्म हो गया 2 मिनट के बाद उसको शी काउंटर बीजेपी. आई हैड नथिंग टू से. ऑल माय पॉइंट्स वर सेड बाय हर. So I said, ma'am, you only fight with the BJP, I'll leave. What do you say? It's true.
No, but then people say that now of today's anchors that ये सारे बीजेपी का लाइन ले रहे हैं,
यार
तो they are
मैं
all
ये ना गोदी मीडिया को एक बार कहना चाहता हूँ. NDTV जैसा गोदी मीडिया ना तो कभी हुआ है ना कभी होगा.
Old one.
Old one.
You said that.
Those guys were charlatans dressed as God knows what. Documented records है. Even Manmohan Singh rang up Pranay Roy, and I have a tweet on this, blasted him for one show that they ran that was tangentially anti-Congress. This was the kind of association they had. The Prime Minister used to ring up the head of NDTV to say, ये क्या दिखा दिया तुमने, क्या कर रहे हो, माफी
ये
मांगो.
हर सरकार करती है. So excuse me
No,
for
but I'm
being
saying
the
वो लोग
naysayers.
वो
Every
लोग
government
accuse
does.
करते
Every
हैं यार.
government.
They are
that's
the
right.
one. That's what I'm saying.
So those people who sit on this pulpits. Now,
That's
I
all
also
I'm
went
saying.
on this podcast and I said the same thing. I said that this term Godi media unfortunately came from an old NDTV. I'm saying old NDTV because not the new NDTV, but the old NDTV anchor who said this. And then I said that they went in Pakistan and one of the
terrace.
anchors went on the terrace of the I&B minister's house and did a broadcast from there where we had to pay for satellite costs. All other channels, there were just 2 or 3 in those days, but we paid for satellite TV out there from BSNL. But these guys broadcast from there using PTV signal, Pakistan television signal, and JKLF का पीछे उनके tent थे. The JKLF guys used to stay in the courtyard of that information broadcasting minister's house. Now, most people from the right who want to promote that part are saying that it was Ravish who anchored it. Now, I can't say this, name the anchor because it would be unfair because I wasn't there to see which anchor did it, but it was certainly not Ravish who did it. But Ravish knew that it was happening. He turned a blind eye to it. Fine, you're working in an organization. You're not responsible for editorial decisions of the entire organization, only your show. But my point is this thing of Godi media, which is said today, sorry, but it's existed all along. It depends on you.
Since we're talking about Godi media, let's talk about the film media. In the 80s and 90s, tell me one actor who did not go to Dawood Ibrahim's house,
Yeah.
dance at his parties. They used to literally go and serve alcohol and tandoori chicken at his parties and things like that. And a whole bunch of film critics who grew up at that time who were going and schmoozing out there. Nobody wants to talk about that.
Yeah.
Everyone, do you remember a few years back?
Sharjah match, all of them used
Sharjah
to
match
be
and all
there.
of that. A few years back, these people were even challenged to talk about casting couches and the kind of sexual abuse you see in the industry. किसी ने मुंह खोला? अब बहुत brave हो गए हैं. अरे बाबा.
या तो लोग माफिया की बात कर रहा है ना. I can understand people getting afraid of mafia. They also got afraid of the government mafia. Please tell me, in the 60s and 70s and 80s, people who are now cribbing about propaganda movies. Weren't Raj Kapoor's movies propaganda movies for the left? They were entirely leftist. But okay, he himself might not have
That
been.
is why they were let into the Soviet Union and celebrated
Right?
in the Soviet
Okay, so and then
Not Mithun. Jimmy.
no, that
No,
song
Jimmy,
became
Jimmy,
very popular.
Jimmy became very popular. In fact, there is a YouTube video of the Indian marching band at the Kremlin Zoria, which is a military tattoo. A military tattoos where all the militaries combine and
But
they
it
display
was-
their
that was
skills.
not
But
go-
one second, let me finish. And they are playing Jimmy. It gets the loudest claps from the Russian
No, that's
audience.
fine. But what I'm saying is, we were all at that time. We were being fed only Soviet.
propaganda
हाँ.
था। नहीं सोवियत ही नहीं मतलब we
How
are children
Soviet?
of
That's the books
the
we got.
decades where everything was propaganda.
Yeah, no, but
Yeah,
that's
everything is propaganda everywhere. BBC was always propaganda. ठीक है?
Totally.
Voice of America also makes no
Yeah,
these things about the
exactly.
fact that it is a BBC always had pretensions that it is not a propaganda channel. It has been, right? But the bottom line is that today what pisses me off is you have film stars going and meeting the Indian Prime Minister today, and you have a certain ecosystem going into paroxysms of rage
हाँ.
as to why this is happening.
Correct.
Why are they going to meet the Prime Minister? Okay. Have previously stars not gone and met the Prime Minister
Yeah,
of India?
Exactly.
So what is it about Narendra Modi? You might not like him, you might not want to vote for him, that's a different matter. But stars have always gone, or cricket stars or film stars have always gone and met the Indian Prime Minister. What is the big deal in it?
In fact, you should. If you want to talk about your industry, who else are you going to meet? You
Yeah.
should. I think when
Why
this
are
happened
certain
with
people
Ekta and
such
all of them had
pariahs?
gone
Yeah.
to meet the prime setting twice. One was in his house, and one was he had hosted a dinner. I saw all the comments and I quote tweeted it. I'm glad that my prime minister met him. I may not like Narendra Modi ji's policies, but if I want my film industry to do well and become a global player,
Sure.
they have to interact with him. They have to talk.
What policy of Narendra Modi don't you like?
Many policies.
Right.
Name
I have,
three.
I have many on his economic policy. I think he's the most left prime minister, even more left than Manmohan Singh ji. He's done nothing in privatization. Absolutely.
his
Except
policies
for
are
Air
the same
India.
as-
Except for Air
Boss,
India.
all the coal blocks.
Except for Air India.
Coal blocks.
Which they went to court
Okay,
against.
okay. So that's the
Which they
same
went
as
to
the
court.
Congress
he-
policy.
yeah.
So I don't like.
So Madhi out there, it's a
doing
balance.
as Rahul
out.
Gandhi
What,
was like.
what are the other policies you don't like?
In foreign policy, I think that he needs to be slightly more accommodating of the global south. I think now he's
Abbe
gone
yaar,
back-
South
no,
I'm
I'm sorry.
Why are
Sorry,
we
no, no.
about
That's
global
my
south?
point of view. My point of view.
One second. We
That's
got
my point of view.
screwed
You are
over.
just-
We
you
got
are
screwed
now
over.
thinking- No, on the global south, I'm
he is
telling you on the
thinking on
foreign
his feet
Again
because this
bullying.
was an
No,
out of
how the
syllabus
bullying?
question.
How? No, I think.
Yeah,
तो
there is
टाइमर
a-
लगाने
I
वाला
think
था
on the
3
global-
पॉलिसी बता वो तो
Yeah.
मैंने टाइमर नहीं लगाया
लगा दे मैं बता रहा हूँ ये दूसरी पॉलिसी आई डोंट लाइक अबाउट
Which
इट
policy?
द ग्लोबल
अच्छा,
ग्लोबल
global
is
बता।
foreign. Do I like his policy with the Middle East?
अच्छा, SIR, you have a problem with SIR?
I have a problem with the way SIR is being conducted right now. Absolute problem. I don't have a problem with SIR. I think SIR is legitimate to do, but the way it's done in 42 plus 7, 49 days, the way these guys have had different rules for Bengal and Uttar
You had a
Pradesh
problem
versus
बिहार में जैसे हुआ ऐसा
versus
you had a problem
आनंद
in
बात
Bihar.
करने
one
दो
second, let me
उसको।
finish. Versus in Assam, where now they've said because NRC is over, we'll only do an SR. We'll not look at those documents. When an NRC is over, I'll tell you what my problem is. When the SR in Bihar was going on, the Home Minister comes and says, all infiltrators will be thrown out. सारे घुसपैठिए बैठे हुए 390 निकले, एक को बाहर नहीं निकाला. जहाँ आसाम में घुसपैठिए मिले
तुमको
आपको
कैसे पता निकाला कि नहीं निकाला?
नहीं निकाला
हाँ.
तो पता चलता ना डिटेंशन सेंटर में दो
है,
कोई
हाँ.
तो कोर्ट भागता ना लेफ्ट वाला सच है
नहीं
करेक्ट
भागता ना।
अब आसाम में जो 19 लाख निकले वहां पर आपने नहीं निकाला वहां पे आप कह रहे हो हम दोबारा से एनआरसी करोगे सो यू डोंट हैव अ पॉलिसी द डेटा शोज 80,000 इन्फिल्ट्रेटर्स वर रिमूव्ड बाय यूपीए इन्होंने 5,000 6,000 निकाले तो आप इसको कम्युनलाइज मत करो एसआर वाज अ गुड इशू आई थिंक इट शुड हैव हैपेंड बट द वे द होम मिनिस्टर मेड इट अबाउट घुसपैठियाज इट्स नॉट द इलेक्शन
I like
Can I
the
push back? Can I push back?
And you know what? I like the debate which is taking place in the parliament at the time of shooting this episode, though we are airing it later. The debate is taking place and it is so interesting because people are coming up with facts and they have researched and they are talking about it, which is like, thank God, I hope it lasts. The first day, at least, the debate has been interesting.
Three things. First, there used to be a thing called the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation, which actually did stellar research, which used to inform ministers of the UPA which unfortunately nobody in the Congress seems to want to take anymore, number one, because certain people have decided they know best. Number two, the Global South, we went with the Global South throughout the UPA. We were lockstep with China in negotiating emission standards. At the last minute, the Chinese cut us off and they negotiated their own emissions. We never managed to negotiate our emissions. Okay. That is when our policy on the Global South changed, which is we will use the Global South to amplify our own demands, but India first, ultimately, which is what, one second, which is what this government is about. Number three is, you know, when you talk about Modi being socialist,
He is.
boss, I agree, it's socialist. This is a democracy, boss. You can't see the American dream is everybody accepts the oppressor because they dream of the day where they become the oppressor. That is not the Indian dream. That is not the Indian foundational ethos. You tell people that bhai dekh Ambani Adani ko अमीर होने दे, तू सड़ते रह, तेरे को ना ही तो हेल्थ कवर दूंगा, ना ही तो कोई इलेक्ट्रिसिटी दूंगा, I'm not going to give you toilets. Boss, he is not going to vote.
No, that is not what I have a problem with. I am all for welfareism. Welfareism is different from giving cash transfers directly in the middle of an election, 10,000 rupees without it being budgeted, and you saying that's a grant to all the women. That is socialism
an election
and
was
corruption.
won or lost on
I
10,000
don't
rupees,
think
you are
that-
mistaken.
No, I think it is absolutely unethical. It is absolutely wrong. Then in the middle of an election, you're giving 10,000 rupees. You say, "Oh, we have this policy now."
That's an excuse.
No, they did it with Ladki Bain also.
Yeah,
You
there are
can't
two
do this.
excuses.
You can't be giving
one
people
second.
cash.
Whether you say, look, the other side was also promising things, right? The question is, would they have done it after the election or before the election? But that's not the point. I have two grouses. One is this, you are being disingenuous on this, like everybody else. The second problem has been your weeping and crying over the SIR thing.
Let's get to the SIR.
And where my problem with that is, you know, and this is a standard tactic you people use, okay? And that tactic is that you take out the exception. Aadhaar card is bad because somebody went and got a kutte ka Aadhaar card. Okay? Now, out of 100 million or 1 billion Aadhaar cards being made, if there are maybe 5, 10, 50, 100, 200 cases, some person who does not have fingerprints or some biometric problem, those are exceptions. I'm not saying don't deal with it. What you guys do is you use the exceptions to question the basic framework of the policy.
You're wrong on this. I'll tell you why. Just allow me to answer the
In the case of SIR, in the case of SIR, for example, you have been weeping your nuts off on some people who have committed suicide. You don't know whether they committed suicide or they died because of SIR, because of something else. Now, just because somebody tells you it was because of SIR does not mean it was because of SIR. The guy might have been unwell, whatever the reason. Okay, supposing somebody was so shocked that he died, it is extremely unfortunate, but that does not distract you or should not distract you from the utility and the necessity of the SIR. That you need to have clean, let me finish, clean electoral rolls. Okay? The second is that on this whole SIR question, you know, this whole thing which you guys have created, agar itni problem thi, jin logon ka naam kata, why did they not go to court? Why did they not put in a representation? There hasn't been the kind of representation.
Can I just answer this
just
quickly?
one sentence and then we'll go to Anand. We haven't got his line on.
Very quickly, let me
You always have a good time on our friends.
Okay, let me answer both of these. Number one, it is the opposition that pushed for the Aadhaar. So I completely agree with you that just because one Aadhaar was on a Kutta or Donald Trump or some other name, it should not have been excluded. It is the government that wanted to link Aadhaar and Epic Card, and then they did a U-turn on it. Just to give you one quick fact check, in Epic Card, the Chief Election Commissioner explained why zero number is valid as an address. Fair point. And if you're linking Aadhaar, no Aadhaar has a zero house number. So then how did you manage that? How Aadhaar is proof of house. I said this in your debate. So please, the government itself was confused. Number two, as so far as those people committed suicide, a lot of them are on videos. There's one very viral video where a guy said, look, the thing is, in the earlier SIR, it started on 1st May 2002, ended on 16th October 2002. It was 165 days. This SR is 42 plus 7 days, 49. They haven't been trained. The software is hanging. Those people have targets to do. And again, seeing those 11 documents, and there's pressure. If you don't meet those targets, you're being
So
suspended.
now it's been
That is the problem.
No, now it's
That
been
is the issue.
extended. It's been
7 days.
extended. Yeah,
Yes.
it's been extended by 7 days.
Correct.
So they are correcting whatever mistakes which were done.
don't jump.
I want to come to the issue of this whole in the debate. Nishikant Dubey said about demography change, right, in what is happening in Bengal, and the allegation of the BJP is that the Muslim population in Bengal, especially in the border areas with Bangladesh, has increased so much, 10 to 15% since the 2011 census, and that is why the TMC doesn't want or the opposition, because they also talk about the Congress, though the TMC
irrelevant.
says is irrelevant in Bengal, but they're saying that with this increase, like in Murshidabad and Malda and in these areas, with the increase of the Muslim population, that's the reason TMC doesn't want the SIR to take place in Bengal. What is your view, that should they hammer in that SIR has to happen regardless of whether they get cooperation from the state government or not?
Of course. And I'm just absolutely done to death with this kind of, every time BJP comes up with, rightfully brings out the lacuna of the previous dispensation or the current non-BJP dispensation, opposition you can call it. They just say it, and as is their habit all the time, they never act on it. The classic case in point is, of course I'm digressing a bit, is Vande Mataram. Yeah, thank you for telling the world that two paragraphs were taken out. But you had 11 years to reinsert those 2 paragraphs if you don't agree with it. Now, did you know that UPA did more border fencing with Bangladesh than NDA?
Yes.
Can you imagine that? Even today, I think 400 kilometers of our border with Bangladesh is still unfenced. And you know the pretext, नहीं उसका excuse क्या है कि ममता दी जो है BSF को लैंड नहीं, अरे भाई आपके पास क्या है? You have the means and the wherewithals to sweep any opposition aside, because this is a national security issue.
But Anand, interestingly, this is not just a problem which happens in India.
Right.
So, for example, if you look at Obama's record in expelling illegal immigrants, it is far more than what Donald Trump has managed to do. But Donald Trump has made it a platform, a political issue. So he is trying to play this card, even though he has achieved much less than what Obama did. And this is the general divide. In the left does it slimily, quietly, but does it. The right makes a big song and dance about it, does not do it, wants it to become a major issue, because then it becomes a political platform.
Abhijit, just give you the data before I, for example, it was Shashi Tharoor who first said there might be, in Pax Indica's book, 20 million illegal Bangladeshis, and he alluded to them as termites that have escaped into the Indian woodwork. That's what he said. So
but everybody associates that
Amit Shah
with Amit Shah.
है ना, Shashi Tharoor को कोई नहीं, क्योंकि privilege है उसकी, चलो कोई बात नहीं.
No, he didn't use the word.
Yeah, who escapes into the termite?
I agree, but he didn't use the word. Amit Shah ji said it in parliament. He said Deemak ki tarah.
Just Deemak ki tarah is a colloquial expression.
I'm not disputing.
Everybody
Come on.
uses it. It's not a racist expression.
Then Kiran Rijiju repeated that. Ki there are 20 million odd Bangladeshi immigrants, illegal immigrants, right? We have to do something about it. Exactly as you said. पूरा उसका वो election issue बना दिया. Then Amit Shah said we have identified 4 million. We'll throw them out. This was 4-5 years ago. कितने आपने अभी तक डाले? You're right. UPA ने ज्यादा किए थे.
80,000 यूपीए ने किए.
तो बोलो जनता को गुस्सा दिला दो, ये कर दो, वो कर दो, और फिर एक्शन कुछ होता नहीं है. तो
वो 390 निकले बिहार के अंदर, और गृह मंत्री जी ने इतने उन पे भाषण दिए, कम से कम उन 390 को तो डिपोर्ट करो.
SIR तो होना चाहिए हर इलेक्शन से.
I am for SIR.
Bengal election पे, now the experts are saying that the BJP needs to win 60% of the Hindu votes, and it's for the 60% of the Hindu votes that all this is happening, where you are seeing a revival of Hinduism in that area. एक बाबा जी को वहाँ पे भेज दिया, धुरंधर बन रहा है. So there is this whole Hindutva movement which is on steroids to win the Bengal election.
Boss,
And Vande Mataram in the debate in the parliament.
देखो, Vande Mataram, you want to debate it in parliament is fantastic, but Vande Mataram at the end, you know what the ending of Anandamath is? When the protagonist asks about the British, the goddess says the British, their time will come
You go now. The entire thing is about a rebellion against the Nawab of Bengal and his enforcers.
Yeah.
ठीक है? Number one. Now you want to make it about that, congratulations, but it's not something that resonates with the Bengali on the ground per se. Unlike say Kalima and Jai Shri Ram, which would.
Jai Shri Ram resonates? It didn't, it seems.
It does at a level.
Jai
It
Shri Ram
does.
resonates everywhere.
It
No,
resonates
but
everywhere.
we were told that in 2024 election and in the previous Vidhan Sabha
No,
election,
that was a different thing.
Okay.
That was bad electoral strategy about selection of candidates and things like that.
Okay.
Different issue. Now, what happens with Bengal is, you have verifiably seen it happen. Murshidabad came to India with a 48% population of Muslims. Today it is close to 60%.
Yeah.
How are you saying based on normal growth rates that this has happened? It has not. Right. There is Hemanta Biswa Sarma has given you all the statistics of all the districts where the population has changed, and mind you, local Assamese
Second.
Muslims.
Sorry, I'm sorry. This is chicken Caesar salad, no?
Are you kidding me, yaar?
I just seen. हटाओ ये.
Are you kidding me? Did I just have?
No. नहीं. अच्छा, sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry.
इसको एडिट मत करना. मैं दुनिया को बताना चाहता हूँ कि मेरे साथ मेरा धर्म भ्रष्ट होने
नॉन वेज मत देना अभी. नॉन वेज बाद में देना when it's all done.
ANI मेरा धर्म, मेरा एथिज्म, डार्विनियन एथिज्म भ्रष्ट करने वाली थी. मुझे बचा लिया पाजी. थैंक यू.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
You're saying Hemanta Biswa Sharma.
Now, all of this is the reason why you need the SIR, because one pillar of election integrity is the integrity of the voting process and the integrity of the person voting, that they are a citizen, because voting is a privilege given to every Indian citizen. Unlike America, where felons and criminals aren't allowed to vote, in India felons and criminals are allowed to vote. Okay. Now, what does the Congress do? They first oppose the NRC. Okay. They don't let you conduct the NRC. They don't let
CA
you enforce
also.
it.
They
CA
oppose.
also.
Yeah.
CA also. Then when the SIR has to happen, you oppose that also. Till then, you were criticizing the Aadhaar card. The moment it suits you, you say, oh, no, Aadhaar card is not good. You're saying Aadhaar card is not good enough. पहले तो आप ही बोल रहे थे Aadhaar card is flawed. Now you're saying Aadhaar card should be good enough to vote.
But that's something even Samajwadi Party and the others are picking up. So Rahul Gandhi picked it up in a big way, the SIR issue, before Bihar elections. Tejasvi got on board for some time, and then this is what shows that he's dynamic, or his policies, his politics is more dynamic than even the Congress. He decided that this is not resonating. Kuch nahi ho raha. He dumped it.
Tejasvi is a very good politician who was done in by Rahul Gandhi. Rahul Gandhi diverted issues to things nobody cares about.
वो क्या खा रहा है यार?
इतनी नहीं. एक दो बजे खाऊंगा.
मैं इसका जरा शॉट लेना.
Oh my God!
My God.
What the hell is this?
My God.
1 किलो पकौड़े ले आए इनके
किसको
लिए.
मिर्ची लगी है भाई? बर्नॉल भी लेते आना साथ में. Green chutney and bernol.
Diverted it to irrelevant issues. And if you notice, Rahul always diverts things to irrelevant issues. India is a union of states. Bhai, kaun tere ko vote karega if you say India is a union of states? Nobody even understands what the debate is. He always vote chori, and now on the 14th, apparently Congress is doing some big vote chori yatra, something like that at Ram Leela Maidan.
You know, Priyanka's, which he also said, Priyanka's speech was on Vande Mataram, it was, right? And it was so much better than what Rahul said. No, but it was, if you compare,
if the bar is Rahul Gandhi, then
yeah,
everything
exactly.
is better.
It is between the two of them.
But Priyanka is a much better orator in Hindi and in English. She thinks in Hindi. And I think what I like about
She has a nose for it.
And
pun not intended.
And what I think she also thinks on her feet, and she doesn't get personal. So you know when the whole Nehru thing happened, the way she laughed and she said, "Speaker साहब आपकी अनुमति से एक दिन हम पूरा नेहरू जी पे डिस्कस करते हैं, आप भड़ास निकाल दीजिए, फिर हम वर्तमान मुद्दों पर बात करेंगे."
She used to get personal, but I think she corrected herself. She did it with Smriti and she did it with Modi long ago. This was 2014 election.
During the thing.
Yeah.
But all politicians correct.
Because she was also a novice, but she at least learns from at least those kind of mistakes. Rahul Gandhi persists with it because he thinks pointing out a mistake which the media has done is because they are you know,
cahoots.
in cahoots with RSS, not even BJP, RSS.
The problem with RG's politics, according to me, and I'm going to be critical out here, and that's coming from where you said in Bihar, is that one, you can keep saying that he has wrong advisors who feed him, but if I were to be at ANI, how long can I blame everybody? The buck has to stop at the person who's doing the podcast, which is in this case you, right? So you have to at some point own up and take responsibility. What happened in Bihar was
Advisor भी तो आप ही ने चुने हैं ना?
exactly. So that's something you have to stand up and take responsibility. What happened in
Last
Bihar?
podcast में मैंने इसको यही बोला था.
No,
अब ये
last
मान
po-
गया मेरी बात.
No, last podcast, what we both said was the same thing. That there will be another election, it will be another debacle, and we'll come and discuss the same thing. Haryana, Maharashtra, Bihar. How long are
because
we going
till
to
last
lose?
time you were defending
Look-
the guy, and what you were saying is, and I was trying to tell you that listen, you can't defend him because he is picking on the advisors. No?
Not just the advisors, even at the level of the issue to
But
continuously
look at
have
the
these,
next crop.
to
You
have
have
these.
Kharge. His son is there now.
I mean, it's
He is shouting from the rooftops of all the things that Rahul Gandhi is, is done and dusted. He's been there. He's been thrashed on the same policies. What I'm saying is, Priyank Kharge is emulating, is doing what a scion does. Is basically repeating the same mistake and thinking that this time I would be right, and that Tehseen is right.
What's happening in Tamil Nadu is Udaynidhi's talent, has he changed his tack, or is it going to be the same, more of the same?
Look, people make the mistake that because the language is the same, or in fact Udaynidhi's language is worse, he's the same as Rahul. Not true. Udaynidhi is a very smart cookie.
Agree.
When he calls Sanatan Dharma a
He knows what he's
disease that
doing.
needs to
Yeah.
be wiped out and things like that, he has consolidated his votes. Trust me, in the next election, it doesn't matter if the BJP gets the entire opposition to the DMK together under one platform. The DMK is still going to win an absolute majority. And the same thing is going to happen in Bengal as well. Mark my words.
TMC.
TMC.
ये पनौती तो नहीं करा ना तू जैसे करता है.
नहीं. On
But,
Twitter, I'll
okay,
keep
on a more
predicting a
serious
huge
note-
BJP victory.
On
Yeah.
a more serious note, explain to me, in Tamil Nadu, for example, the amount of religious observance that one sees, you might call it God-fearing, very religious people, what you see generally, how does this abuse of Sanatan Dharma fit in with the
Two things. The first thing is, the whole point of Hindutva is to put religion above caste. You get rid of caste differences by using religion. In Tamil Nadu, caste is still way above religion. It doesn't mean how observant you are in terms of religion. Your caste identity is still much higher. Okay. The incentives for caste identity are much higher. The rewards for conversion are also significantly higher.
Yeah.
So, for example,
Because
I
the
don't
state is
think
doing
you'll
well
come.
economically, so then obviously
you
everything.
won't come across a agglomeration of Christian schools the way you will in Tamil Nadu. You go into little villages, you'll see a cross.
No,
and
that's
whatever.
happening in Jharkhand, it's there in Chhattisgarh.
That I
in
have
Punjab.
seen of all the coastal states where I belong to or have travelled. It is happening. Jharkhand isme ho raha hoga, but in Tamil Nadu is a state I know.
But
In
to
Bengal,
Christian-
one second. In Bengal, you won't have all of this. In Tamil Nadu, it is in your face to see.
Punjab?
Now, because they are conflated, because the religion is conflated with caste very frequently of the predominant caste in the village, it's the perfect,
Storm.
storm.
Yeah.
But Tamil Nadu, there's a crisis for the Congress because one of these data experts has ended up.
Yes.
And I've
Ab tak rahega yaar,
I've
wo data.
always
He
called
has
him out.
9 lives.
I've always called him out.
Yeah.
The guy is a complete.
कौन सा वाला?
Data
वो
expert. है.
तुम्हारा जो
Data expert. But then, you know what?
Who said
He'll
Rafale
come
was the
back.
biggest issue.
Doesn't matter. No, Sam Pitroda also came back. So it doesn't matter. There are so many of them. They go out because they've done one error and then they come
failure
back.
has no cost to
Yeah, there is no cost.
Everybody
Well,
just
and the
comes
champion of
unless
that is
the
Rahul Gandhi. Yeah.
Unless the
the fountainhead.
at some point the Congress
हाँ
will have
कितने
to
इलेक्शन जीत हारोगे ना 15, 20, 40, 50 60-70.
But the best
फिर भी-
meme ever to have come
Okay,
out is
let's-
that.
let's
one
just
second,
make-
yeah, Rahul Gandhi saying zero check kar lo, sir. Have you seen
See,
that
the
one?
main thing here is, at some point, why does Rahul Gandhi choose to be surrounded by people who can't win a state and ignore people who can win states? ठीक है, Captain Amrinder Singh may not be able to win by himself, but as the head of the Congress, he can win.
Yeah.
You took an election which was yours to win on back of the farmers' protest, and you self-sabotaged your own party, not once but twice over, and made it lose that election. Why is it that people who can win votes? Look at Shashi Tharoor. He is
No,
one.
wait, you're talking about Punjab. Just now,
Not just
Navjot Kaur said that
Anyway.
500 crores.
नहीं, नहीं,
500
वो
crores.
छोड़ो. See that. See,
was
let's
also
not get into the micro.
Now she's been.
I'm
was
talking
also
about.
different
I'm talking
tangent.
about the macro trend out
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
You surround yourself with people. One is some dating website ka ex-CEO. Another is
The data, so-called data guy. Third
they're
is
all
Gupta
these
Sao.
so-called data guys who have some kind of an Ivy League education or Ivy League allied education, who have not worked on the ground.
But
and-
that used to
or-
be said about
But they are
Rajiv
people
Gandhi,
like
and
us.
that used to be said about Rajiv Gandhi and
But
his
we-
they are
India's
people
changed
like us,
but
and
India's
I would,
changed.
I
Can I
will
just
pity,
complete?
I will pity anyone that hires me as a political advisor.
Rajiv Gandhi used to have
I'd like
these
to make a
people who
point.
came from they were called computer boys.
Yes.
Because at that time everybody used to say computer क्या चीज है, इंडिया में कंप्यूटर कभी नहीं
तो
चलेगा.
मैडम देख लो
So they got-
84 इलेक्शन से 89 इलेक्शन का कितना
So
फर्क
what
था?
I'm saying is
You're
that
proving my point.
So what I'm saying is that it is, I'm not disassociating from your point. What I'm saying is that it is a flaw probably that they surround themselves
Let me explain.
with people who are loyal.
But-
so if they are tech savvy,
What is the-
No, no, no.
They are not loyal.
They are not loyal.
They are not
Let us
loyal,
be very
Smita.
clear. They are
Can I-
loyal to themselves.
Yeah, they draw their power from Rahul
Yeah.
Gandhi. And the problem is, Smita, the same people who are responsible for the Punjab debacle are the same people responsible for the Delhi debacle, are the same people responsible
Rajasthan.
for the Bihar debacle. And two of these Johnnies cannot win a Rajya Sabha on their own, from their own state. Cannot win a Rajya Sabha. I'm not saying Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha you can win, lose.
Can they win a
They
resident
can't
welfare
win a
association election?
Most of them can't win a resident welfare association. Forget a RWA. They can't win in their building to be nominated for an RWA election. These are these kind of people. And the problem with this is, and then there you have these technocrats, one dating guy, one data guy,
and by the
one Duggal Saab.
The dating technocrat has been promoted within the ranks after the Bihar this thing, because said
lost the
dating guy
election.
fell on their sword and said
It's
Rahul
the
ji has
essence.
nothing to do with it. It was all my fault. So he has risen in esteem.
No,
in the
you know
party.
what he said actually. I'm not.
I don't know
I'm
who
not.
you're
Just sorry.
talking about. नहीं, नहीं.
Just 1 second, but I'll just tell you what he said.
नाम तो बता दो ना.
बता दो आप ना, but I'll just tell you what he said. He said there are allegations of tickets being sold.
the one who was in charge of Bihar elections.
And before
giving
that,
out
Youth Congress. Anyways, the point is, he says the allegations of tickets being sold. The allegations of where the tickets were sold have lost with lesser margin than the ones where tickets have not been. He actually said that. So
That
see,
there's a guy who tore his shirt, remember, with Lalu
yeah.
Yadav ka, मेरे को सीट नहीं दिया, मैं श्राप देता हूँ कि इतने सीट पे, and actually they got
I
stuck at that
kept telling
number.
I just want to make one point.
One point
You
and then we go because
Yeah.
it's very hot
know, it's
here.
yes, my
Yeah,
ass is
mine.
on burning.
Your ass is
Okay, I
burning.
got the right seat.
Your ass is burning.
You know, lest one thinks that this is a problem associated purely with Congress, they're surrounded. One of the most important elections for BJP to win was the 2021 Bengal election, right? And it lost it. It had people on the ground. It had a mix of everything. It had everything going for it. There was a groundswell of support, and yet it lost it.
Yeah.
You managed it. They didn't manage the election.
That's what I'm
properly.
saying. So it's not that you need these 3 or 4 losers to surround you and then you will lose an election.
Yeah, but listen, the problem is with the leadership. It wants to collect people around itself with whom they are comfortable. You know, with whom
Not
they can
billability.
they can vibe with. There are people like us that we can sit down together. We say
Yeah,
the same
can you
jokes.
please not say, you repeated it twice, but we are nothing like the Congress guys who
No,
surround
no.
themselves.
No,
Even this
no,
guy.
PLU
people like
jo hote na,
PLU is
PLU
an expression,
Cross,
right?
he's talking
But the,
cross,
like you would hang around with people You
For
can have
example,
conversation, right?
Anand,
Not suck up.
we get along
Yeah,
very
yeah,
well.
I get
But
it.
can you give us jobs in JNU? You won't, right? So it's exactly that. We are people like
Do
us.
we want a job in jail?
But so you run a lab, right? Maybe you can hire us as a stenographer at best. Maybe as the desk clerk. You are not going to hire us to decide on what your next research topic should
is.
be, right? That is the difference. These guys, this is what these people need
They
to
should be
understand.
stenographers.
Not
Not
decision making.
Arey, hang out with them, party with them, yaar.
These are the drones that are made in India, make in India.
Yeah. And
These are not Chinese
No,
drones?
not Chinese drones. And we were talking to some experts and saying, up to ports, airports, railway stations, all these facilities, the public sector units, all these will get anti-drone equipment because we're talking about a hybrid warfare now and grey zones. But it's a matter of time before I think schools, colleges, hotels, hospitals will also need this because they are soft targets. It's kind of frightening that we need this now.
No, but look, if you're talking about critical infrastructure like airports or governmental buildings or sensitive infrastructure, power plants and stuff like that, then you need a certain kind of anti-drone technologies to be adopted out there. But to expect that every square inch or every school, every hospital, everything is going to have that kind of equipment, you can have some somewhat rudimentary, somewhat watered down kind of stuff, but you can't protect everything, right? So you have to look at what are the high
Something
value.
is going to happen, but the thing is that you pick and choose. How do you pick and choose? You've got these. Have you noticed that even at the hotels and all that, after 26/11 they put these gates for security gates. Nobody bothers with that.
And the checking in hotels.
And malls.
Boss, shisha. Boss, they aren't even trained to pick out a bomb. It's
They're like hospitality.
It's the placebo.
guys.
It's the placebo that you think they're doing security.
Welcome to Welcome Group. Welcome to Taj.
Exactly.
Welcome.
Right. But can we on a serious side? On a serious side, there is now a global norm that's being debated, where all drones will have to follow certain protocols that get programmed, where there are no drone zones. These will be put up on the databases of the manufacturers, and the drone will be physically incapable of flying out there. It's the GPS positioning won't let it go out there. Now, as for the democratization of drones, kids now have phones, and 99% of the parents I know don't even know how to use parental controls on those phones.
Yeah, that's so scary.
So look,
Not even on their Tata Sky and things like that. They don't know
TV,
parental.
They don't know.
they don't.
Yeah.
Now the kids will. This is going to democratize. Drones are going to democratize. At one point, I remember when I was looking at buying a drone, it was some insane price. It was $17,000 for a DJI at that time. Now you can get, like he said, you get drones for like $200, and they're pretty and they're good drones. huh?
200 euros, a very good, it was just a small thing which was capable of doing whatever you wanted to. Normally you would want it to do. But the problem with trying to set up, or put in those geofencing kind of a thing where they cannot operate, you can do it for the normal kind of stuff. But there will always be somebody who can break through that, right, and then attack, because that is how all warfare
Look,
is
that
done,
is the
right?
nature of warfare.
But even for conventional war,
Can I just point out, in Sindoor, our drone defense was spectacular.
Mind-blowing.
Yeah.
It was actually better than the Israeli drone defense.
Much better.
boss.
We can
and look at the range Iran was trying to hit Israel.
But
from
policing,
versus Pakistan, right?
policing will have to include now this because we are not far from where these doctors at that Al Falah university were doing this, and they were taking cars with bombs in them. They were going to, and that guy was wrecking.
Can I
It's
defend
a
Al
matter
Falah?
of-
Can I defend
No,
Al Falah?
please. Why are you defending
No,
Al
no, no.
Falah?
I think, look, there is something
He's
called...
a Jan ke na.
No. This isn't me being a contrarian. I think it is very important we understand that
That
universities will always be a node for radicalization in some form or the other.
Yeah,
There
this
is
was
no-
not radicalization.
Please, this was not.
This was terrorism.
Let me finish.
Radicalization of thought is different.
Yeah, what
Bombing
is this?
and doing.
What is this fascist podcast?
This
This
is
right-wing
mass
fascist
murder.
podcast.
Homophobia on display.
again, somebody who's
This neo-Nazi podcast isn't letting me talk. So, universities होश ज्यादा होता है
तो
ना।
जो मेरे को टैग कर रहे हैं ना कि
Terrorists.
मैं अभिजीत की दोस्त हूँ, just see, I do try to shut him up.
And before you say, he's actually justifying bhatke hue youth. He's actually justifying it.
भटके हुए नौजवान
Naujawaan, sorry.
So these bhatke हुए नौजवान find it very easy to get into universities, camouflage themselves under the guise of radicalism and things like that, and invariably you will find recruits out there. I think Al-Falah is the classic case of that. There is a reason the government hasn't shut it down. And I think, this is pointless, like
I'm not saying shut
shutting down
down.
JNU and sacking
No,
Anand
that-
just because of all the naras.
Anand will be sacked if there's a change of government.
I think
day one
I have always believed
they'll be
that,
like the Trump this thing.
that Anand is the male version of Romila Thapar. I mean, he dresses. Tell me somebody dressed like this. Isn't
Can I
a-
respond or
हाँ या उसको बोलने दो ना बेचारे को. हाँ बोलो
नहीं.
यार बेचारा.
नहीं यार देखो दो तीन चीजें हैं in one sense I
Radical
agree with
Islam
Abhijit.
वाली शुरू हो जाएगा.
नहीं वो मैं पिछले 3 पॉडकास्ट से बोल चुका हूँ nobody listens to me.
Romilesh Thapar, Romilesh Thapar.
Romilesh Thapar. General Direwal. But
Now that insults are coming out.
See, General
Dyer
Dyer.
आज से ये गालीदास नहीं है ये जनरल
Dayerwal है.
Dyer. Are you going to use that now?
I'm going to use
Okay.
General Dyer.
General Dyer. Please tweet on that also.
हाँ तो क्या
But
बोल रहा
हाँ यार देखो
Radical का बोलो.
लोगों को रेडिकल बता के मैं तो थक गया कि नहीं है वो अलग बात नहीं है पॉइंट है वो रेडिकल हो रहे हैं है ना अगर आप मान लो कि देयर इज समथिंग कॉल्ड रेडिकलाइजेशन यू आर हैविंग रेडिकल पीपल अराउंड अस देयर आर जर्नलिस्ट जो स्ट्रैटेजी बदलती रहती हैं देयर आर what does Shivarur call someone Saidi RJ
No. This was Aditya Raj called Jaish-e-Mohammed sleeper cell.
हाँ sleeper cell
Jaish-e-Mohammed
I call them
intellectual sleeper cell.
हाँ I call them wait listed फिदाइन
ISEC.
वही वेट लिस्ट में आया हुआ कहते हैं अभी नहीं
JEM
बाद
ISEC.
में दैट्स इट बट द पॉइंट इज कि ये रेडिकलाइजेशन तब होता है व्हेन यू हैव गिवन द एंटायर कम्युनिटी एन अपर हैंड थ्रू अपीजमेंट एंड द हिंदू कम्युनिटी इज बीइंग डिस्क्रिमिनेटेड अगेंस्ट जब वो हटा लोगे उनको भी पता चल जाएगा हम सब सेम है ये रिलीजन का इशू है ही नहीं ये जस्टिस का इशू है मैं ये बोल बोल के थक गया नाउ फॉर एग्जाम्पल I really want to discuss this. जो वैष्णो देवी हॉस्पिटल ऑफ एक्सीलेंस के साथ जो हुआ है, it's a calamity that has happened.
Right.
You have scores of Muslim educational institutions, seminaries, where you get 100% donations from Muslims, and 100% seats are reserved for Muslims. Here you had Institute of Medical Excellence, Sri Mata Vaishno Devi, made through 100% donations by Hindus. And reserved 84% seats for Muslims. Now, if it was government sponsored, it is Vaishno Devi University is, there you have, there is no issue. Out here, even here I am saying, you want to do it, then you don't have reservations for SC/ST in this excellence. Number one, that's illegal by the way, but that was happening. Number two, someone please explain to me that you have a 100% Jamia Millia Islamia, 100% funded by the central government. Crores, hundreds of crores, and 50% seats are reserved for Muslims.
I'll explain that.
And when you talk about it is your moral obligation to provide reservation to the downtrodden, underprivileged, Dalits, ये वो. Someone please explain कि 1% reservation में नहीं है दलित की इन institutes में, AMU में क्यों नहीं है? तो they have been fed on this notion that they are above 370 का continuance भी यही था. हम अलग हैं, हमें ज़्यादा राइट्स चाहिए, हमें वक्फ का एक्ट चाहिए जो कि हिंदूज के पास एक्ट नहीं है, बोर्ड रखना है रख लो. What explains in the last 10 years you have 20 lakh acres of land, yeah? Why should there be a separate tribunal, legislature, executive working for you? Why should you have no control over your mosque but Hindus temple should be controlled? तो unequal society जब आपने बना दी, आपने ये फीड कर दिया उनको कि हमारे पास जरा सा भी कुछ होता है victimhood आ जाता है कि we are above everyone else. That is the root cause of radicalization.
So the problem with Anand's arguments, as good as they are,
he mixes up too many issues and then loses the meat of it. Though you're vegetarian, he's vegetarian. There are two separate issues.
He loses the soy champ.
He loses the soy chop of it.
That's the worst.
Dayarwal, keep quiet, Dayarwal.
That should be banned, soya chap.
It should.
It should just be banned.
It's delicious.
It's yeah.
I've seen how it's made, but
Oh my God, I saw how it was made.
Soya chop is delicious, then you don't know shit all about food.
ये गेंडा मेरे बारे में बात कर रहा है।
अबे तू तो एकदम देखो कुछ नहीं पता खाने का बारे। अगर तेरे को सोया चांप अच्छा लगता है ना, तेरे से बड़ा ढक्कन कोई नहीं है।
Honestly.
सुनो, तू गेंडा है, उधर सरसों का
मैं
खेत है,
गैंडा हूँ, जो मर्जी हूँ। At least I know.
Only Pakistanis are allowed to call him Genda. Indians cannot call him that.
When they call me, then you know what they get.
That is what happened.
Paji, just because you have books in the bag doesn't mean that you have education.
I know. I'm a consumer after all.
हाँ, but it's true. Soya chap को ban करो.
But
Completely
Devo,
ban.
yeah, you were trying
अभी वो बेचारा वो
unsuccessfully to
तहसीन
rebut
जब भी
अच्छा इसको जरा बोल दे
तहसीन जब भी कोई intellectual
We always interrupt Tehseen.
I know what his argument is.
Pavam, no, he is. He's Pavam.
He's Papa.
Pavam. Okay.
No, I'm just saying that, look, I agree with him on the AMU, the JNU point that there is no SC/ST reservation. No doubt. These are central government institutes. They should do it right away. Who stopped the central government from doing it? 11 years, who's been in power? Enough. One second. I'm not blaming. I'm saying that don't mix the issues. I think temples should be absolutely free. I think governments have no business managing temples. It's the worst thing. And even where temples are supposedly free, the trusts that are done, they're done as barter. For example, in Maharashtra, Shinde faction will get one temple chairpersonship, NCP will get one, BJP will get, even there they are their nominee. So it should be absolutely free. Again, no two ways about it.
So far, you've agreed on me on both counts.
On both those counts, those I agree with you. But in the Vaishno Devi temple, in the Vaishno Devi college, while I think it should only be for Hindus, forget 50%, I think it should be 100% Hindus because it's 100%.
तो ये तो मुझसे भी ऊपर agree कर गया ये
It is 100% Hindu money. The problem, the legal problem there was, and I think Omar Abdullah explained it.
Omar
very well.
said it, yeah.
He said that they are not applying for minority status. Had they applied, they would have got the same privilege. Now they didn't apply. Now those 84% Muslims who went there, where you're wrong, were not reservation.
They were the most get minority status.
भैया allowed ही नहीं है.
They would get minority.
Allowed ही नहीं है.
A Hindu cannot register as a
But Jammu and
minority.
Kashmir you can.
No, you can't.
No, अरे भाई.
अच्छा दूसरा ही says that अगर हमारे बच्चों को यहाँ admission देगा
टर्की जाएंगे
तो टर्की और बांग्लादेश
That is
जाएंगे.
stupid. Bangladesh. First of all, we should stop Bangladesh.
This is wrong.
We should stop our students going from
Don't just
Bangladesh.
brush it under by saying stupid. You have to expose him. He deliberately said it.
Why
Deliberately.
Turkey?
Yeah.
Why Turkey?
Turkey.
Why say Turkey?
No, I'll tell you why Turkey. Because a lot of Kashmiri students have been attracted or seduced by Turkey to go out there and are actually being radicalized out there.
Yeah.
And it is, I blame the government of India, despite having known it for the last, at least this government, we should have expected them to do something about it. They knew it for the last 10 years that this has been happening and they have turned a blind eye. Yeah, these guys have even invited Erdogan, the bloody criminal. They've invited Erdogan to India and met him out here. He's at a state visit. Why would you invite a guy like Erdogan, yaar? These third-rate bloody Turks, why do you want to even engage with them?
And you know
but these fellows, the Turks,
But हम ऐसे we keep cutting
Turkey
out
has
people
become
like
the
this.
largest center for
Astaghfirullah, talking about
anti-India.
the home of the caliph like that.
He can go and screw himself. But it has become the largest anti-India propaganda center in the world.
Paji
today.
continues to. It's not just recently.
Yeah.
And you know, they have a double strategy. What Turkey does is the minute you're an Indian, forget your religion. They will give you such good offers that you're seduced to go to Turkey.
Yeah. No,
That's how
Congress
you're
office bana liya.
No.
नहीं, that's not happened.
That's not happened.
That's why all your weddings are happening in Turkey. They'll give you better, the way it is, and the government needs to come down on this association with Turkey and Bangladesh. And I'm repeating, our next terror attack will happen from Bangladesh. This one had a Bangladesh connection. Our next one will be from Bangladesh. Bangladesh is out of control. This government has zero clue on how to deal with it. And why are students going to Bangladesh even now?
Yeah, I can't understand
Get
this.
them here, give them admission.
Why?
आप उनको
I'll tell you why.
उनको आप दे देते वैष्णो देवी में।
कौन पढ़ने बांग्लादेश जाता है?
Classic. This is the classic Indian problem, Indian lacuna of externalizing all your problems. कोई ये पूछ रहा नहीं है why is there such a paucity of medical seats?
college? Yes,
because everybody knows the mafia controls it, the education mafia.
All politicians.
that the education mafia controls it. Everybody goes after reservation without asking, boss, there is no mother in this country that doesn't think her baby is the next Steve Jobs or Bill Gates.
mother.
Epstein list mein aa gaya
My
tha, so
mother
not him.
never
But
thought all
who
that.
doesn't
So
think?
your mother also thought you were the next.
Yeah, you know, she used to call me a failure because I didn't get into. She
Medical
literally told me-
college.
My
No,
mom
any-
was honest. She said,
any
"तो
of
No,
waiter
no.
बनेगा."
In our time, it was like
My mom was honest. She said, "तो waiter ही बनेगा."
नहीं नहीं यार
तो waiter ही बनेगा.
यार but listen,
My
then
mom
she added
my
some
mom used to say,
adjectives.
"Nee rotla wakkandu piccha vaanga pore nae picche."
मतलब
कुत्ता तू रास्ते पे बैठ के भीख मांगेगा.
हाँ, okay.
हाँ.
There's
So-
always Sharma ji का बेटा जो मेडिकल
and you know,
कॉलेज में
this
चला
is-
गया.
this is when I told
गुप्ता
her-
जी का बेटा जो CA कर गया.
This is when I told her I didn't want to do BCom and when I wanted to do BA history. This is what she
Oh
told
my
me.
God, art
Yeah,
subject.
Art
Like-
subject, my God.
Yeah. No
Okay.
prospect of getting married anyway. for
हाँ
you.
हाँ.
And
She
then-
didn't know I was gay at that time, so that वो ठीक है, वो माफ कर दिया. But
नहीं मैरिज से क्या रिलेशन है गे का? You can get married.
No, not in India. No, it's not.
You
in
can have
India.
a union. You can have a
a
union.
gay can get married to a
have a
woman.
union.
That is also there.
No. Two men can have a union.
ठीक है. Let's finish.
Let's finish
So-
with this. हाँ.
So
Medical colleges.
You
yes.
keep talking about reservation without talking about why. Nobody is talking about buying more pizzas. Everybody is only talking about
Slicing.
smaller slices within the pizza.
Okay.
And this is a huge problem. You know, they manage to divert you every single time on this path. Now, let us come again. Why can't, I have always said this, if Hindu temples aren't given back to Hindus, Hinduism will die as a religion. On the other hand, if you give the temples back to Hindus in the way I'm seeing it right now, it will also kill the religion. You know why? Because caste comes into everything. Okay, when you have a problematic relation with exclusion and you have the loudest voices in the give the Hindu temples back advocating for that exclusion to continue, this is one issue. The second issue is, have you seen some of the traditional trustees of temples, Madurai Meenakshi Amman Koil, if it is given back, do you know who the chief trustee becomes? PTR. The Tamil Nadu DMK finance minister. Do you want somebody like PTR becoming the trustee of? Not that the current head of the Hindu religious and charitable endowments is any good.
After it is done.
So, first sort out your problems.
Okay. Take the caste element out.
Take the
Have
caste
a
element out.
egalitarian way of
And that
doing
be
it.
done by legislation where again you say that a temple there can be by law no discrimination.
The
and
moment
most
you make a law and you make a legislation on how a temple is to be run,
impeaching
You
on
are
Article
already-
25.
the government.
Article 25. Yeah.
Now, you know, here is the interesting thing.
That's true.
Meenakshi Jain, ma'am's sister Sandhya Jain, wrote the book on Sabarimala. I don't think anybody is bothered reading it. You know, there is a goddess up on the hill. There is a goddess up on the hill. Everybody should read that book because it is very clear out there that the legal strategy that needed to be adopted is that this is a separate panth, it is a separate sampradaya,
Right, yeah.
etc., which was not done. Okay, you see, there is no justification for legal stupidity. You want to get things done properly,
yeah,
then
but
do
they
it.
tried it with the Anand Margi.
The Ayodhya temple, the Shankaracharyas will not go there. There is that. I mean, now the whole thing is that some of them are in court, whether they're legal, they are legally Shankaracharyas or not Shankaracharyas. They will not go there. They will not accept it that it is a legal temple. वही सारा
नहीं, but
चलता
apart
है.
from all
जिसको
that,
जाना तो
देखो
श्रद्धालु
जब
उसको क्या
when the
फर्क पड़ता है?
Anand Margis or the Ramakrishna Mission said that we are a separate sampradaya, right? The same argument. It was not accepted by the courts.
There are so many mutts like that even in Karnataka
but
and all
so-
that.
so
it's
do
like
you
very
know that there is
complicated.
one point before you go to
Anand,
Yeah,
just one
there
point,
are
and
guys.
then
That's what I'm
you
saying.
should
Now, here
answer
is the
it's your issue.
Now, so see, you have to understand this is a huge dilemma. I'm trying to get at it, but you're not letting me finish. Every time
you're not letting me
the Sikhs started off as tell me where do any of the 10 gurus say they are separate from Hindus?
They don't.
They never do.
Yeah.
But it is now to the point where to be a Hindu is completely antithetical to being a Sikh.
Or to being
Okay.
a Sikh is being antithetical to being a
Yeah, so, mutually exclusive.
Same, yeah.
No, it's not mutually
no, the
exclusive.
Sikhs-
I won't say that.
I won't, but they will. Okay.
Point.
Now, if you start going down that path as well, that is why I said legal stupidity. Okay, you have to get legal strategies in order. I don't think the legal strategies are being coordinated. And bhai dekho, tumko, you want to be stupid and go to battle unprepared, be my guest.
Just one line before I want him to speak. I think I agree with one point you said, that there's too much of stupid legality. Because if you just leave it out, like I go a lot to temples and I go to Mahakal, etc. There has never been for me, an atheist born to Muslim and a Muslim, any discrimination. उल्टा पंडित जी लेके आते, कहते आप जल अभिषेक करो, वहीं बैठते आप, जैसे जब भस्म आरती हुआ, I'm sitting with Nandi. So I think that if you just leave the religion the way it is without government interference, I think the evolution is such nobody cares. In today's time, they will be slight,
in some
but those will
areas
be the
they will,
exceptions.
in some
But
they
those
will.
will be the exceptions. I don't think, as a rule, Hindus now will discriminate. And I'm saying this as a
But
non-believer.
see, for example, and I don't know how much this analogy holds. For example, in Punjab, in a lot of gurdwaras, the Jat Sikh would dominate the gurdwara and would not let the Mazbi Sikh enter. Okay, in many places this happens. They dominate it, and even in that series, that kick-ass series which was made by Virat Kohli's wife, Patal Lok. Remember that scene where there is this particular guy from this community? So there is a lot of that which used to happen.
Actually, the I shouldn't say expat community, but the insulated woke Sikh community, they woke up to this, who live in cities, who are not exposed to this Mazhabi Sikh community. They woke up to this कि अच्छा ऐसे भी होता है, हमको तो पता भी नहीं था कि हमारे गुरुद्वारों में allowed नहीं है, ये नहीं होता. It's only those who are in the pind know this.
But so look, there is a certain market forces, not in the commercial sense, but there is a certain market force even when it comes to religion. Now, if in the case, when you talk about the evolutionary part, let it continue, right? Let it happen on its own. They will figure out a way of managing it without bringing in the caste angle, because the moment you start bringing in the caste angle in, right, there will be a pushback from others. So if you want to unite, and that will be depending on whichever math or whichever temple or whichever this trust there is, that if you want to include the entire Hindu community into that fold and bring it in and make this the center point of a particular area, then you cannot have discriminatory practices.
Okay,
and if you have discriminatory practices, people will move elsewhere.
Anand, last caste agnostic temples.
नहीं बोला तो अब जब ये ऐसे बोलते हैं ना, he is now being
a champion.
He's being a typical bloody Brit, making a sarcastic comment. सारा तो बोल दिया मेरे लिए क्या है.
He's been championing freedom.
Caste agnostic होना चाहिए, नहीं होना चाहिए. एक तो ये.
Let's not go by anecdotal this thing, or be wary if one temple does caste discrimination out of 500,000 temples, right? Anecdotal. Number two, there already are laws that prevent discrimination. They might not be followed, but they are on paper. If you feel that a private organization, which is what a temple would be away from the state control, it's like a private company, Adani, Ambani. If there is caste discrimination happening there, somebody goes to court. And I've already advocated a temple should float itself on the stock exchange. People want that temple to succeed, want to get more money.
Transparency आ जाती है.
Transparency आएगी, वो उनको जब पैसे मिलेंगे through the stock market, they would become richer, they would start more schools, colleges, they would prosper.
It's a radical way of looking at it, but I think it's kind of
it is another way of looking at it. Why not?
Okay, when you use radical and me in the same
free
sentence,
radical, okay.
free radical chemist वाला
free
कह
market.
सकते हो. लेकिन एक बात जो आपने कही ना, डिस्क्रिमिनेशन पे लोग जो हमेशा हिंदूज को बोगी बना देते हैं. आई पोज अ वेरी अनकंफर्टेबल क्वेश्चन. ये डू यू नो दैट दलित सिख्स कैनॉट जॉइन द ऑफिशियल सिख रेजिमेंट? देयर इज अ स्पेशल लाइट आर्टिलरी फॉर देम.
सिख लाइन.
तब कहाँ जाता है डिस्क्रिमिनेशन भाई? ये सब जो चढ़ चढ़ के बोल रहे हैं, RCW40 या जितने भी लोग हैं, वी स्टैंड फॉर दिस भारत माता, तब डिस्क्रिमिनेशन नहीं दिख रही आपको? Nobody is willing to answer it. तब एक्सक्यूज क्या आ जाता है कि हम कम्युनिटी को साथ लेके चलते हैं. तो मैं पूछना चाहता हूँ कि गढ़वाल रेजिमेंट में अता हुसैन कैसे आ गए भाई? वो कौन से गढ़वाली?
नहीं यार देखो.
I'm just taking.
It's wrong.
You are taking a wrong example.
It's a wrong example.
Can we keep the forge out of it? Yeah.
No. 1 second.
Take the forge out. I want to be very sensitive when dealing with this question.
Okay.
This needs to be discussed.
No,
we
so
can't leave
let me
everything.
discuss it
I'll
with
just
you,
finish the question.
अच्छा, तूने क्वेश्चन रेज किया था, तो आई एम डिस्कसिंग इट विद यू,
बट सेंसिटिवली बिकॉज आई एम चूजिंग माय वर्ड्स.
आई एम बीइंग वेरी सेंसिटिव.
मैं एक बार फिनिश कर लूँ बस.
अच्छा.
Why should there
Sometimes हो
be
जाता
two regiments, okay, where one would not admit bona fide Sikhs? I believe that is discrimination. Now, and I say it with tremendous respect for everyone.
So one, the regimental structure was such that it was based on community, so that it's a cohesive structure. Now, for example, in some units, there will be, I think it's the Rajputana Rifles, if I'm not mistaken. There is a mix of Jats and Rajputs. So within the same battalion, there will be Jat troops and Rajput troops. So they work together, do everything together, but you know, within their own platoons or their own structures, they are separate and yet together. The reason is the cohesiveness of the unit. The same thing is in the case of some of the Sikh battalions. So there is the Sikhla infantry, which is basically Mazhabi Sikhs. Incidentally, many of them are doing very well, right? Financially and otherwise. And then there is the Sikh regiment, and then there is this Punjab regiment, which is basically Jat Sikh and other people. When you conflate it with how General Ata Hasnain is part of the Garhwal Rifle, he's not a Garhwali, yeah. It's the same way, like my brother-in-law was a Sikh officer, right? He is not a Mazhabi Sikh, and yet the officer level is above all this, which is why you will see within the same unit, you will see a Gurdwara, a Masjid, a Mandir within the same, or a church in the same room. You will see all.
Achha, now that we are talking about Fauj, can we talk about Pakistan?
Our Fauj is very different from Pakistani Fauj.
I'm not finished क्योंकि
Okay.
अब मेरे पास वो 4 राउंड के बाद आएगा जब मैं
नहीं, तेरे पास-
अच्छा, I'm going to start with you only now.
ऑलरेडी बहुत सारे लोग सब कह चुके होंगे.
हाँ, ये देख.
Yeah, he's winking like that
I know,
ISPR
I know.
chief, you know,
हाँ,
who
हाँ,
winked at the press
पंजाबी
conference.
कह चुके होंगे वो सारा, तो मैं पहले ही कहना चाहता हूँ.
Have we
He
got
said fellow Punjabi.
Have
देख लो.
हाँ.
तुम दोनों की बात कर रहा था.
नहीं.
Did the camera get his wink?
Let us sort this out once and
डिलीट
for
कर
all.
देना उसको.
Let us sort this out once and for all.
There's nothing to sort out.
Teenal sutrapun ullarum.
சரி.
Arade navinal sutravarum.
ठीक है.
What is the translation of this Tirukural?
I like
जो
it.
तू बोल रहा है ठीक है. मान ली तेरी बात.
बता
यार.
दे. बता.
बता रहा हूँ, मौका देना. हाइड्रोजन, हीलियम, लिथियम, बेरिलियम, बोरॉन, कार्बन, नाइट्रोजन, ऑक्सीजन, फ्लोरीन, नियॉन, सोडियम, मैग्नीशियम, एल्यूमिनियम, सिलिकॉन, फास्फोरस, सल्फर, क्लोरीन,
he
आर्गन,
doesn't
पोटेशियम,
even know.
कैल्शियम,
He doesn't
कैल्शियम,
even know
मैग्नीशियम, मैग्नीज,
Tirukural.
आयरन, कोबाल्ट, निकल,
What
कॉपर,
kind
जिंक,
of a
गैलियम,
अभी रुक जा.
आर्सेनिक, सेलेनियम, ब्रोमीन, क्रिप्टॉन, रुबिडियम, स्ट्रोंशियम, जर्मेनियम, निकोन, नियोबियम, और कितना सुनेगा.
ये नहीं. But this.
Okay, moving on swiftly.
You know, this is a nightmare I
fraud
have.
Tamil है.
Tell me how many of you had this nightmare? Periodic table.
मैं तब तक वहाँ पहुँचा ही नहीं. मैं पहले निकल आया.
बाप रे.
I don't
You
know
know,
why.
nightmare.
I used to wake up in a cold sweat because I didn't know the valency and
Yeah.
this thing and all of
To
that.
balance
My
those
God.
equations and to know कि किसका कितना है. ओए भगवान.
But I know it only till Laurentium, which was 103. अब और आगे elements आ गए हैं. But I want to pose another question. ये वंदे मातरम का, and I'll link it with the armed forces.
Yeah, how
I'll
many
tell
people
you.
called it Vande Bharat, you know, during the
हाँ, lot of yes.
debate? Vande Mataram बोली, we talking about the debate and then Vande Bharat. It was like, हाँ बोलो.
So, you know, people object now. Lot of Muslims and organizations not only object to not singing the current truncated version, but obviously they would object to singing the non-truncated version. Let's put it like that.
Why obvious? What is obvious about it? They should sing whatever.
Because they say that there is
The Devi,
symbolism
the
of
Durga
Durga Ma.
Mas.
So they have their theological reason. I'm just putting it on the table, which was the
But
objection
the
of Muslim
symbolism
League.
with the
and-
Durga Ma is in the non-truncated version.
In the non-truncated.
अच्छा. Because the truncated
Both,
version.
both in Janagana Mana and
Yes.
in
It's that
Vande Mataram.
Saptakoti Kantha. Kala Kala.
It is actually Trisaptakoti Kantha.
Trisaptakoti.
Okay. Now I want to ask a simple question. In fact, it's been my honor to have met
370.
and interacted with General Ata Hasnain that we talked about. I met him in Mao and I asked him. His father was the one who started, I think, or you can say, raised the Garhwal regiment, Mehdi Hassan. He had a choice to go to Pakistan. His brother did, but he stayed back. And I asked him, so when you jump out of the trenches and charge at the enemy, mostly Pakistanis and this and that, what do you say? He said, Badri Vishal ki jai.
No.
Right? Rajputana rifles वाले से बजरंग बली की जय. Now, would these Muslim organizations object to a Muslim warrior, our hero,
No, they don't.
chanting Badri Vishal ki
Can I
jai?
add
जब
to
वो नहीं
this?
करते तो इनको दुर्गा माँ से सिंबलिज्म में क्या प्रॉब्लम है यार?
नहीं, उन्होंने ए.आर. रहमान को बोला कुछ जब वो माँ तुझे सलाम कर रहा था. That was
But
Vande
salam
Mataram.
is not Vande.
No, that's
Yeah, but
No, it is completely different.
no.
Yeah,
Salam.
he says
we
Vande Mataram.
The
song
but
was
Vande is not salam.
Arey, माँ तुझे सलाम, and then it says Vande Mataram is a chorus.
But you know what? It is only now that I see with right-wing Muslim organizations, this is becoming such an issue. because-
Right-wing?
Right-wing.
Muslim organizations.
They
right-wing. They are right-wing. They're also right-wing.
Yeah.
They're ethnocentric.
Because
Define what is
because
right-wing
in
then.
one second, because in Maharashtra, where I come from, we chant Jai Shivaji, Jai Bhavani, and it is secular. There is nothing about Bhavani Mata not being. So I have, or like, you know, in Maharashtra we have Ganpati, we are all celebrating it, we are all there.
This is
So
an inclusive secularity.
we have always, we've never seen. Now when I
he's
see,
not a
no,
true
I am
Muslim.
absolutely true. When I see these
नहीं
mullahs.
नहीं, ये क्या हुआ? ये तरीका गलत है. You're not a true Muslim. You're a सरकारी Muslim. ये सब गलत है.
देखो,
आपको हमने बोला तो have to allow 10 seconds.
Make me finish my point. Make me finish my point.
This
I have
is
to- I
a
have to- I have to
this
be
is a
given 10 seconds.
self-confident Muslim.
Let me finish my
A
point.
self-confident Muslim has no issues. It is the
I have, this is Mahakal, this is
भाई, you are not a
Bhagwamukhi.
true Muslim.
Now,
No,
now
no,
one
ये
second,
गलत,
just
ये
one
गलत.
second,
This
one
is
second,
so
please.
wrong.
अच्छा, अब बिना
In
सुने
my-
कैसे
one
कह
second.
सकते?
अच्छा
Okay.
wait.
मतलब यार
बोलो फिर मैं
इस
बोलता
पे
हूँ, but
10
allow me
साल
to-
पहले लिख
हाँ,
चुका हूँ
ठीक है, बोलो.
कुरान पढ़िए इसीलिए भाई. There are at least 13 verses where Allah describes in detail who is a true and a good Muslim. Now it's a simple question. Would the Muslim believe Allah as to what Allah says is a good Muslim or not?
One second. Now let me
No,
answer.
बोलो.
I'll answer that.
ये बोलो
You
ना,
must
yes.
allow me to answer it. You can't try and bully. Let me
अल्लाह ने
answer
कहा
it.
है भाई अच्छा मुस्लिम कौन है? आप कह रहे हो नहीं, अल्लाह गलत है.
तो अभी तक मेरा तमिल ट्रांसलेशन नहीं दे सका और
मेरा
इससे
कुरान
आगे
बोल दे तो दिया मैंने,
कुछ नहीं
बोला
दिया.
था, सुनो.
103 एलिमेंट्स गिना दिए.
In different sects of Islam, just like in different sects of Hinduism, there are different interpretations. So my sect
अब्बास.
can
Don't
you
be
must
sarky like
you
this.
can't be second. You must allow me to
बेचारा.
be sporting.
क्या
यार.
scenery
सुन
देख
लेना.
रहा
देख ले scenery. और plane भी जा रहा है. देख. The point that I'm trying to make is, we, for example, believe the Quran has to be interpreted time after time. It's done by an imam and it is done as per the times of the day. So modesty for a woman today will be different from a modesty yesterday, which 30 years ago you may not have worn shorts. Today you'll be very comfortable.
But are
So,
you speaking this, what you are saying,
for my community,
from
as
your community?
now in our community, in Diwali, on the Jamaat Khana, there is lights. There is yoga outside the Jamaat Khana. There is dandiya played. Women are compulsory education. Now, that is one aspect to it. So don't brush all Muslims on that.
अच्छा,
Number two.
अहमदिया मुस्लिम है
number
according
two.
to you.
They are absolutely Muslims according
और
to
फिर
me.
अब ये देखो
According to
सुन्नी
me,
मुस्लिम
Muslims.
क्या कह रहे हैं जो कुरान
but वो तो
नहीं,
हर
so-
चीज़
so-
में
Boss,
look,
he can't answer for
I
a
can't for
Sunni.
somebody
He can
else.
only
I can
answer
answer
for
for
an
myself.
Aga
the
Khan.
point I'm trying to make. You will
I am
have
trying-
then 2000 sects of Muslims. Then
Yes, like
Yes,
Hindus also. now
that is
Hindus also
proving
have
my
Hindus
point,
also
yeah.
have
इसमें गलत बात
Sunni.
क्या है?
But
Of
but
course.
but
Arey,
what
I
do you
can-
want?
am I
Do you
disagreeing
want
with that?
Do you
हाँ,
want
but
me?
ठीक है.
Do you want me to move as a Muslim, an Indian Muslim, because I think Indian is first, towards inclusivity,
So
or hold on
you
to an
can't
identity?
then say
and
that
Indian?
you're
I
true
completely
Muslim
object
नहीं
to
है.
this.
No, I'm an
And
Indian.
I will not allow you to
I'm an
talk
Indian.
because unless I respond to that.
Okay,
What do you think?
I'm an Indian.
अबे तेरी नहीं बात कर रहा.
I have to move first.
अबे सुन लेना. Would I object to the way you are? Yes or no? आप कर दे, मैं बहुत पिटाई करूंगा.
Yeah, but when you brush
नहीं.
everyone, all Muslims,
एक second.
that
So you
becomes,
have the answer.
That becomes
you
the
are
other
asking
don't-
rhetorically.
No,
you are
it's
asking
not.
rhetorically.
You're
I
specifically
want
other
you the way
Don't
you
answer.
are.
Can
But the
I-
problem is,
can I go through the
But you
jurisdiction?
say I'm not a true Muslim.
99% of the Muslims don't
That's
act
not
like
true.
this.
You've not met
That is not
99%
true.
of the
That is
Muslims.
not true, Anand. I'm sorry, that is not true. Can we just go through the different schools? First of all, the Aga Khanis fundamentally believe that there has to be reinterpretation in every age, and the Aga Khan interprets it for them.
But
And-
one second.
one second.
No, let me just add to what you are saying.
Yeah.
This is not true only for the Aga Khani.
Yeah,
so it is
I'm-
supposed to
yes,
be
and
true
for
for every
everyone.
single
Everyone.
sect.
Now-
the others do not do it.
Now, the Shias generally, even though the Aga
Even the
Khanis
Shias
are
don't do it.
Shias, the Shias have this thing. That is why they choose their Imam who validates their interpretation of the Quran. Now, the Shias don't allow ijtihad. The Sunni concept there is ijtihad, where every Muslim, there is no sacerdotal function, where every Muslim has the right to interpret the Quran for himself. The Shias do not believe that individuals are qualified. Maybe that is right. This is an old debate. It's got all
Achha,
kinds of theological complexity.
Le-
So I'm sorry. a Sunni interpretation is an individual interpretation. It is
Acha,
not.
but
A
now
collective.
Can we talk about radicalism in Bangladesh, which is constitutionally secular, but what has happened now? And now what do you expect? February में elections होंगे कि नहीं होंगे, क्या होगा?
देखो election हो जाए नहीं हो, it doesn't matter. I think the direction that country has taken is a very negative one. Secondly, remember one thing, that when the country was formed, it was formed as a secular democracy. Within a few years, it became an Islamic state. To Sheikh Hasina's credit, she tried to bring back the secular origins of that country back. That has gone out of the window for now. So I don't see secularism in the strictest sense of the word returning to Bangladesh. I don't see it. Secondly, I think this
goes back.
Huh? I don't know when she goes back, if she goes back, when she goes back, what happens,
Too risky for her. They
what
won't
the
let her live.
circumstances will be
This
at
is
that
all
point of
fascist
time.
right-wing propaganda.
Might be. So the second problem is going to be that this third-rate fellow who has run that country for the last 1 year, NGO wala, typical, and I am increasingly convinced he is a typical American plant out there to do what he is doing. They have unleashed forces, jihadist forces of the sorts that nobody will be able to control. And if you are going to start trying to
Like
controlling
Pakistan.
them,
They're buying
it will
European
be
aircraft.
lot of bloodshed before you can even put this genie back in the bottle, because all those guys that Sheikh Hasina had bottled up, they are all out of the woodwork and they're all over the
Do you
place.
see Asim Munir going to Bangladesh in the next couple of months?
Can go,
He
not
will go, no?
how does it matter?
But one question, would the Bangladeshi army
is
ever take as much control of the country as Pakistani
not
army?
under this
because
army
it's
chief.
not, because it's not been a kind of
Yeah.
the same kind of a monolithic kind of a force that the Pakistan army
No, and
has
no,
been.
and for
Listen,
20
I am
years
the
they are
only-
back in the barracks.
I am the only Bangladeshi out here, okay? So let me tell you about my country.
Of course, yeah, right, of course.
Yeah, देखो एक तो ना देखो
ये तमिल
Pakistan
भी है,
policy
ये
should
बंगाली
not be
भी है.
made by Punjabis and Bangladesh policy should not be made by Bengalis.
No.
Do you think some policy should be made by Bengal? I thought no policy should be made by
Ideally, least of all economic policy.
Tamil Bengal,
So all the
South Indians क्या बनाएंगे
all the
बता दो?
Bengalis think
What
that
should South Indians make? Which
South
policy?
Indians
They
can
should
do
make money.
everything,
Achha.
right?
They should
But
make
the
money.
Bengalis, like when we were in D school, all the profs were bongs,
Yes.
right?
Amartya Sen included.
All of the Amartya Sen was not there, but all the others. So we had Sukumai Chakrabarti, Kaushik Basu.
Manmohan Singh.
Manmohan was supposed to come, but then he had got taken into the finance ministry
RBI, yeah.
at that time. Kaushik Basu was a brilliant professor.
Really?
Brilliant. The
What
most
happened to him?
engaging. See,
Their
I'm not
politics is
getting
different from their-
I'm not getting into his politics, but as a professor, he was the most engaging professor. But we had a whole lot of these Bengali professors. It was dominated by them. And they seem to think that economics is a monopoly of the Bengalis.
Yes.
We've had a few very bright Punjabi economists, more practical than the Bengalis, far more practical, but the Bengalis ideologically always try to dominate it and they have done it.
हम बात क्या कर रहे थे? सवाल क्या था?
Listen, first of all, you can't put bright Punjabi and economist in one sentence.
Oh, we had a prime minister.
Whereas all
very good prime
Name
minister.
two bright
whereas-
Punjabi
Manmohan
economists.
Singh
Whereas-
said, he was a much more brighter
Monte,
politician.
Ishar.
He was a brighter
Ishar.
politician than an economist.
on the other hand, bright Bengali and economist all go. They are
Pranab
perfectly
Mukherjee.
aligned. Yes, Pranab Mukherjee.
Such a
Pranab
good
Mukherjee-
economist.
Vodafone tax.
Such a good economist.
No, Pranab Mukherjee was a brilliant politician, but every time he got charge of the finance ministry,
Retrospective
he screwed
tax.
up.
Oh
the
yes.
20 साल तक
No,
we
that's
have
because
not.
he didn't have the freedom to do what he wanted to do.
Power. All finance
like
ministers,
excuse.
everybody, like under
Chidambaram.
there was Chidambaram also, there was Pranab Mukherjee also. All these guys, nobody had freedom to be prime minister, to be finance minister, to be defense minister.
Also,
Yeah.
unhappy.
You went to Chidambaram's
But you're
balcony,
still-
na?
They all stayed. Yeah.
He
Yeah,
just
because
went
see,
to-
because Manmohan Singh was finance minister under PV
Narasimha Rao,
Narasimha.
yeah.
He was not Tamil, he was Telugu.
तू तो सरसों के खेत में गया था. You went to Chidambaram's balcony. गोभी के खेत में नहीं गया था तुम.
Terrace farming was going on. He was growing cauliflowers on his terrace.
Was that the only thing you
अब मुझे नहीं पता है क्या
Can we get back?
Talking about
Can we get back to Bangladesh, my home country?
your home country.
So in my home country, I want to tell you-
Undivided Bengal.
undivided.
Let's be clear on that. You're not a
passport पे लिख
Bangladeshi. You never were a Bangladeshi.
इसको बाहर इसे इलीगल बांग्लादेश इसको बाहर
हमरा
इसका SIR
करवाओ इनको भेजो
इसका SIR कराओ फिर FIR कराओ
CA कराओ.
नहीं सीए तो वापस आ जाएगा ये we don't want it.
नो सीए
बाहर फेंको।
इसको SIR कराओ फिर FIR कराओ उसको बाहर निकालो
And those tagging me on X because of that, please
He's
see,
Bangladeshi.
we are putting him out of the
we're
country.
throwing him out of the country.
We're throwing him out.
Now, you see, in my country, what is happening is the army is in charge. Okay, they have had enough of the clown, and they've had more than enough of the clown. The clown was read the riot act. The clown has been forced to announce elections. He did not want elections, by the way. The army, my army, had to put the pistol in the head of this crown.
Pistol.
They have seen to it that there will be elections in the country. Now, what is going to happen in election, we cannot tell. But I want to assure all our viewers from this side of the border that in my country, everything is hale and hearty. The
Looks like it, yeah.
the fellow, the NGO clown is going out. He will probably take a plane and never come back again, thankfully.
He'll be sitting in Northern Virginia
Indigo.
next
Now,
to the pool,
what
sipping his
you
mojito,
what you will get back to his
talking about poverty. Yes, correct.
now, what will end up happening, I believe, is initially these the BNP has been destroyed completely, and that is in a way Sheikh Hasina did that. She destroyed the BNP. The Jamaat-e-Islami, unfortunately, see, it was better to have lesser fundamentalists than even greater fundamentalists. The Jamaat-e-Islami are the Razakars who supported the Pakistan army in its genocide. Now, what you will see invariably is my people will vote for the legitimate ruler of Bangladesh, Apa Sheikh Hasina Wajid, and she will ultimately come back. Make no mistake about it. She will ultimately come back.
I don't think so.
How are they going to vote for her?
she's not contesting
They will come as independents. They will come as independents
they
and
disbanded her party
Listen, they control the. Listen, there were no fixed elections out there. They control all the trade unions. The entire, textile boom that is happening there is precisely because of the way the trade unions were controlled and things like that.
I want to ask an uncomfortable question after you're done.
Initially, when you have, say, a BNP, Jamaat combined kind of thing, you will have the normal problems that you have with the BNP government, slightly more because of the Jamaat-e-Islami.
So who is going to form the next government?
But notice, they used to be saying all kinds of anshunt bake ja rahe the about India from their cabinet. All of that in the last 5 to 6 months has stopped.
So, the way I look at it is that, I don't think Sheikh Hasina, firstly, I don't know about her party, but I don't think Sheikh Hasina is going to take part in the election because she will be lending legitimacy to the election, which are going to be totally tilted in favor of either the Jamaat, most probably the Jamaat and not the BNP. And if it is in favor of the Jamaat, then you're going to get a completely radicalized, unfree, radical government in Bangladesh, and we're going to have serious problems out there. So that's the way I look at it. If you want to add anything on Bangladesh, and then
I
we
want
go
to add
forward.
something that, I need Paji's response on that. You see, India has always, in the last 70 years, dealt with nations that were dictatorial nations, dictatorships, authoritarian. We've had no problem with that. Middle East, pura Middle East ही वैसा है. We're dealing with them, friends हैं, झप्पी वप्पी पाते हैं. And we've always said that India will not interfere in the internal affairs of any other country.
Which is
We've
a joke.
had that.
Anyway.
अब यहाँ पे हमने क्यों refuge दे रखी है भाई? Are we not interfering in the internal affairs of a country?
No, we are duty bound.
That is why.
No,
Please explain.
We don't.
Why?
All countries, when they say that
It is the law of refuge.
हमने दलाई लामा को भी यहाँ पे invite किया. We have invited at one point of time even Prabhakaran was sitting out here.
Yes.
We've had Afghans sitting out here.
Yeah.
We had Najibullah's wife.
We don't refuse out. We are not toppling governments.
Even the Burmese, Nobel Prize.
We're not toppling governments like what the Americans
So
do.
does Bangladesh have an extradition treaty with India?
Yes, they do.
And they have wanted.
So let me explain extradition to you.
As a layman, I'm asking this question.
If you want to extradite somebody, there
whenever
are
you
two
want to ask
criteria.
an inconvenient question, now you always say that I am asking as a layman.
Yeah,
Because
सारी
you
poll खोल दो.
already you already
सारी पोलें खोल
no,
दो.
no, because you are a last Englishman. Now, so you are doing what the duplicity of the Englishman. you are.
And I just want to point out that I am going to give a very technical answer and specific answer to a question that this man refused to answer my question.
Okay.
The law of extradition requires two things to happen. First, what you are asking for the extradition for as a crime in your country must also be a similar crime in this country, in the host country. The second is that the legal process followed in that country should be a process that is recognized in this country. Now, being guilty of treason and human rights violation is also a crime in India. The kangaroo court that was set up was a process violation in India.
Completely.
And therefore, we will not say it publicly, but it will be denied on the second ground.
No, and plus
And
there is
that-
another
but
there is
my-
another caveat to that,
response to that.
which is that India-Bangladesh treaty has this clause. I paraphrasing and very loosely, that in the case of politically motivated trials,
Yeah.
extradition can be refused.
Yeah. It does. It does.
So this
India
clearly
duty
falls
bound
we
to
move
see.
to-
So on moral and ethical grounds, we are fine.
We are absolutely
Yeah.
even
As a
legal
layman,
grounds.
that's all I need
Even
to know.
legal grounds.
हम
we are fine.
duplicitous तो नहीं है ना.
अच्छा,
We are duty
Can
bound
we
to
ask
protect Sheikh
all
Hasina.
international
Before
relations is duplicitous.
anybody asks any other question, I will repeat my question. Teenal sutrapun ullarum, arade navinal sutravarum.
Yes.
What does this mean?
The answer is yes.
Simply.
Not just yes. Hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, arsen, fluorine, neon, sodium, magnesium, aluminum, silicon, phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine,
ठीक है, we
argon,
got the
carbon,
answer.
let's go to
titanium,
Pakistan.
radium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel.
Okay, yeah, you know the 103.
ये रहा, ये ना बना था.
हाँ? क्या बकबक कर रहा है?
ये ना बना था.
मेरे स्टेट का इंसल्ट
This is
है.
insult to Tamil.
Now you are
I request my Chief Minister Honorable Thiru Stalin and my Deputy Chief Minister Honorable Thiru Udayanidhi Stalin to immediately arrest this fellow.
No,
for
just
insulting
now you were a
Tamil
Bangladeshi.
sentiment.
How are you a
Bangladeshi.
Tamilian now?
It depends on the time of the day.
On a lighter note, my wife who was reading Annamalai's tweets, he said कि आदि tweets में तो अविराल थिरुविरु भी लगा है.
अविराल नहीं, अवर
वही she is saying, I'm quoting her. I'm quoting.
You put it on your wife.
Aviral.
On national TV.
देख भाई ऐसे है. If you have come to Delhi,
हाँ.
you're a Punjabi.
Yes. समझ गया? ज़्यादा मत
No
बोल.
way.
I'm not a Punjabi.
you
I'm
are.
a Bengali.
Please, I'm not.
Hello, you're married to a Punjabi.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't make me a Punjabi.
And
So
by the
is
way,
he.
I just want to tell people she's not Smita Prakash, she's Smita Parkas.
It's all right.
Prakash.
That's
Parkas.
that's absolutely fine.
तू मोइत्रा है ना? या डयरवाल मोइत्रा है तू.
No, Moitras are Brahmins. We are Kayast.
I see.
We are Mitra.
I know why you were doing that.
I know why she's doing that as well.
You are डयरवाल मोइत्रा.
No. See, how can I ever live up to the
Dog stealer.
How can I
can't
ever
take
live up
this.
to the lotus feet of the great Brahmin member of parliament?
Who lost a case recently.
Shocking.
Huh. Dog wala.
That was against the. That was because it
That was against the dog
anti-Brahminical.
Did
theft.
you guys see what Jaya Bachchan said on Barkha's show, which said that marriage is an outdated concept?
Marriage was an outdated concept
Please.
for
Is
her
it-
even many years back.
That she doesn't want her granddaughter to get married because marriage is outdated. Do you guys really feel that, modern marriages now, it's just like convenience after a certain time and people are not wanting to get married? ऐसे होता है? हाँ, तुम्हारा तो अलग ही है.
अलग ही.
इसका क्या है?
तुम तो
Are
अलग.
you seeing this happening with young people, refusing to go out or making the effort of going out on dates, thinking of marriage as something which is automatic hoga hi
Yours
kabhi.
was a late marriage, no? It was a late marriage.
But
So was mine.
I'm not talking about you guys only, but are you not seeing
But I
the
think-
trend?
But I do think that a lot of youngsters now sort of are moving away from that institution.
Yeah.
I do believe that. She's right to that extent that they're moving away from the institution.
And also parents telling
And
their
parents
kids
are like, it's
that,
okay
that
not
kind
to.
of pressure,
Yeah, that it's
at
okay
least
not to
in
get married.
cities.
Even with girls, I mean, because as in India, you think women would be more under pressure to get married. They're okay with women not getting married, and I think it's fine.
No, yeah, look, like I have two
You have a
daughters.
daughter, yeah.
No, I have nothing against them. I would
He'll be
very
saying
much
exactly
want
what I
to
want.
get them married off. But my point is that listen,
पहली बात तो they'll get mad at you for saying get them married off.
No, yaar, okay, but I'm not getting into the semantics. But the essential
As a
point,
father, you'd want them
I
married.
want my kids to have careers of their own.
Correct.
I think women, it is extremely important that women should be financially independent. They should be able to, hold their own. They should have their own standing in society as individuals. Yes, it is important that you get married, you have a proper family. It's very easy to shit on the institution of family.
Is it important, Sushant?
Listen, I'm telling you this.
Thank you.
No,
It
but
is
if-
very easy to shit on that institution, right? Of marriage, of family. But, once you cross a certain age, you realize the value of a family.
I'm not disputing
So
that.
not
I'm
saying
asking
that.
you, I'm
But
asking you
is it
as a single
happening? Yeah.
Look, as a single woman, if there's a single woman,
फिर ये
suppose
copy
she doesn't. If a single woman doesn't want to get married,
I
if a
don't
single,
have
no, no, one
anything
second. If a
against
single
it,
woman
yeah.
doesn't want to get married, but can continue the gene pool through science today, which many methods are
Clear,
available.
वो सब
Why
you're
doesn't
talking
matter? No,
about
I'm
very,
asking.
very
Then listen, you can do all of that.
No,
then
that you're talking about.
And then
but
companionship
that
and
that is still not. See, whether we like it or not, the institution of marriage and the institution of a family is a centuries old concept. Okay, it is like millennia old, right? Okay, the point I'm trying to make is that the newfangled notions we are talking about, these are very newfangled notions. You don't know what are the kind of societal impacts these things will have, and we are seeing that in some of the Western societies.
marriage in the institution?
No, in newfangled, I would say would be like going on social media rather than going out for dates. That is the newfangled one. But 1 second, एक minute.
नहीं, 5% इंडिया की भी नहीं, 1% इंडिया की बात कर रहे हैं.
No. Can I just complete what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that even in small town India now, what you are saying is something which is visible because when we hire people in Mofussil towns of India, when you're hiring people, there are girls who are in their late 20s and early 30s where there is no pressure from the family. Settle down. That term which we all grew up listening ki, when are you going to shadi karna hai, get married, settle down. That is not used even in small town India. So we are not talking about a minuscule anymore. We are talking about agar shadi hoti hai to hoti hai, nahi hoti to never
Nobody's
mind.
denying
One
marriage.
second. So
Nobody's
there's a-
denying it.
yeah.
No one's denying it.
The pressure to get married in a certain age bracket, that if you're not married by 24, 25, you're too late. You remember when we guys were growing up,
Yeah, of course.
24-25 saal was supposed to be if you crossed 25, you were, your marriage prospects fell down.
You were talking 30 years ago.
Yeah, that's gone.
2 generations have gone since then.
That's gone. So today, like I'm telling you,
But
I
that's because
want
of
my
science.
daughters to work. I want them
That
to
is
be
because of science.
successful in their own individual capacity. And then, yes, if
So
they want to
that's
get
what
married, get married.
is
पहले तो as the joke goes, they say marriage is an institution. I'm not ready to go to an institution as yet. That's the whole joke. But not only according to me, we are talking of still compared to 1400 million people, a tiny fraction. हाँ देखो ये Australia.
very irritating chap.
देख रहे हो? Australia should ban this. guy.
Deva, constant this, तेरा brain rot होने वाला है because you cannot concentrate on conversation if you are not speaking.
I'm Googling
You
what he's saying right now.
gada.
This
Shocking.
is narcissist.
I'm Googling what he's saying
Look,
right now.
When
Karma
you
owes
say
him.
are people moving away from the institution of marriage, what is marriage? I'm not talking about philosophical sense. I'm saying partnership is crucial for
Why?
a good people,
For sanity.
for sanity, for living together,
Is
for
that partnership
sharing
man-woman
happiness.
only?
Man-woman. I mean,
What
I'm
about
not-
woman?
of course,
No, I'm asking you.
Partnership.
Why can't-
अच्छा उसको बोलने दो.
depending upon your orientation.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand. from
Yeah.
you.
So, I
No,
mean,
but-
for a straight man, it is a natural inclination.
People are having partnership with their devices, not
वो तो
wanting.
फिर आप यार अलग ही होगा. मैं
मैं
बोल रहा
यही
हूँ
कह रही
कि
हूँ ना कि human
marriage is a set of legal laws. Thank you.
Set up legal laws.
You guys carry on with the conversation.
No, tell her.
इसकी partner आ गई.
हाँ, मेरी partner आ गई.
The modern
Look,
understanding
अरे,
of marriage
सुन,
is
एक-
what
just- just-
institution.
So basically, if you want to legalize, notarize your marriage, मेरी तो अभी भी नहीं हुई है. पहले तो 7 फेरे ले ली और हो गई मतलब.
मेरे पास भी certificate नहीं है.
Yeah, you don't even. Yeah, you
None
don't
of us
have
are-
certificate, none of us
मेरे
are.
पास भी नहीं है.
You have three certificates, ना?
4.
अच्छा
चार allowed है।
4 सर्टिफिकेट्स हैं इसके पास।
तेरी तो स्पेशल मैरिज
Continue the stereotype. Very special marriage.
Oh, bichara, don't be
nice.
mean.
Very nice.
Oh, that special marriage is.
He is the only one who is legally married.
If he decides, God forbid, to
If my
annul,
if-
you're finished.
If in any case, if in any
finished.
case,
Special
what's
marriage
the
act
law?
for women centric hai
It's
pura.
complete.
In any
But he
case,
can identify himself as a woman. No?
then
like
the,
Abhijit does.
The marriage doesn't work, na bro.
Then marriage nahi hua na
work.
फिर.
But legally, he is the only one who is married.
अच्छा
Legally, I'm the only one.
हाँ exactly.
मैं बता रहा हूँ,
Certificate तो इसी के साथ
BJP
certificate
also
इसके
gets special marriage. I'm the most BJP person on this panel.
what I was
तुम सारे liberal बैठे हो, तुम सारे कांग्रेस की जमात हो।
संस्कारी तो ये नहीं
संस्कारी तो मैं निकला हूँ, मैं संघी हूँ।
Oh God, ये बन गया तुम्हारा.
ये तो हाँ मैं
काटो ये promo।
But look, away from the laws, I believe one needs a companion. A straight man needs a straight woman. Inclination is that. That is, the evolution is destined. Now, you want to go against it and not fructify it with, concretize it with laws, that be it. But when you talk of institution of marriage, for me, please include that as well. Need not be a legal certificate. And if that isn't the case, then yeah, I'm for it. Yeah, it's natural.
Because the reason I'm picking this up is that I'm noticing increasingly हम लोग भी ऐसे बन रहे हैं. Forget about the next generation. The idea of going out to a restaurant, socializing with people, it's becoming lesser and lesser, Like when you went to Lodi Garden, when you went out anywhere, you saw, groups of uncles, groups of aunties walking together, or even youngsters going out for walk. You just don't want to make the effort anymore.
Okay. So several things out.
If I invite people for dinner, for example, that's question, कौन
you
आने
never
वाला है?
invite me.
This guy, I have a rule कि अगर 3 बारी किसी ने decline किया, उसके बाद वो invite जाता नहीं है. I'm making this public. So people will ask, किसको बुला रहे हो? कौन आ रहा है?
No.
You don't want to meet with people who have different thoughts.
When it comes with socialization, the thing is you have so many options right now to watch TV, order food on Swiggy, Zomato, whatever. It has now become
Swiggy
a cost.
doesn't do it.
Sponsor this.
Zomato also
Zomato,
doesn't sponsor.
yeah.
कोई नहीं sponsor करता.
कोई नहीं स्पॉन्सर करता है इसको.
घर का खाना.
स्पॉन्सर्ड बाय घर का खाना.
एक बार बोल दे यार.
हाँ, स्पॉन्सर्ड बाय घर का खाना. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
40 पकौड़े ना मिलते हैं शाम को.
ये रोटी बेल के हमको खिलाती है.
मैं खिलाती हूँ.
एक बार
Actually
रियल
खिलाती
केस में था. एक बार था.
So,
हाँ मैं
मेरी बीवी को सिखा दो.
Now,
क्या
the
उसके
second
अंडरवेयर
thing is-
शेप रोटीज बनती हैं उसकी. आई ओनली से अरे आज एक्सेल बना, आज डबल एक्सेल बनी है. ये XS क्यों बना दिया?
अच्छा गोल नहीं बनाती.
बन ही नहीं सकते यार. 20 साल हो गए.
She's not a Punjabi then. If you cannot below a goal roti, you're not a
100%
Punjabi.
Punjabi. But all
And they say
the
roti.
shapes are XL, double XL, double.
Can I just point out the misogyny of him expecting his wife to
Wife to below the roti.
No, of course मैं बेलता हूँ यार, and perfect round shape. Just moon
काट
like,
के.
just like your
काट
whole-
के
बिना
कटोरी काट के.
You know what the trick is? You need to revolve while
Yeah.
you rotate the
Like
thing.
dosa.
like dosa, which we will know.
As
he will
if
not
you
know.
guys would know how to make a proper dosa.
I know both.
We Punjabis know how to
Can
make better
you
dosas.
can you piso with that thing? Can you do that?
No.
Huh?
I use an electric grinder.
So you need to do that, okay? You
Yeah,
need
yeah.
to piso like this, and you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My party used to do it. Appa, I can't do it.
So you push the rice batter into one gundi. What was that whole? Right? And you have the
Ammi
pestle.
curd.
So you have the pestle and the stone and pestle. What is
Ammi
it
curd.
called?
Yeah,
Huh.
ammi curd.
Mortar
So
and-
the mortar and pestle. So you do that. Unlike the Punjabi one, in which you go this way.
Piecing and
Chakki
Piecing and piecing, which Ajit Pawar was supposed to be chakki
By the way,
piecing.
very sad to know that Dharminder Paji passed away.
Yeah,
that
I
was
know. We really miss him. Yeah.
Can we
I
get
mean,
back to
it's
topic?
Sorry.
Yes.
huh.
Yeah, tell us. What is
Second, now, so
One
imagine
was that everybody's got convenience coming home.
between
Everything.
Netflix and Amazon at home, food coming
Food will
home,
come,
the fact that airline tickets are now so cheap and so available, you can decide not right now, but just generally,
एक हफ्ते से डांट रहा है.
just generally, I'm saying.
No, but you don't have to dress up, na?
You don't
Ghar
have to
mein
dress
you
up.
Pig out.
When I was a kid, if you had to go on a plane, boss, it was a suit and tie thing, going on a
वो
plane.
तो
Still
ये-
is.
he-
not for
going
me,
to the washroom, he dresses like this.
अरे
हाँ, ये तो सोता भी सूट में है.
We'll have to ask the missus.
In fact, he wears, I know for a fact, when I was talking to his wife, she was telling me he wears a bowler hat to go to bed.
You know, I have to interrupt you. I have to tell you this, that there's one RAW chief. And once I saw him in winter while passing, I saw him wearing a cap. You know, there was Santa wala cap. Nahi hota? Monkey, with one golu hanging. And I was like, you know, I must have been like...
He was in disguise. He was an
I
operation.
was 15 or 16. I don't know how old I was. I was a teenager. But I saw him with that cap, and my entire thing when I thought कि RAW का चीफ खूंखार होता है, वो you know जाके लोगों को गोली मार देता है, वो ऐसे करता है. When I saw him with that cap, I was like, it shattered that image.
It was an operation. It was an ongoing operation. They had to kill reindeer.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead. Sorry for the interruption.
Just to add, when I was a kid in Chanakyapuri, my dad took me to his secretary's house, full secretary to government. He received us in his wife's nightie. so you can see why.
अभी Indian bureaucracy का हमने सत्यानाश कर दिया.
That impressed you, huh?
Last time पाजी को आर्मी ने कैंसिल कर दिया, इस बार IAS ने मेरे को कैंसिल कर दिया. ठीक है. Okay. But
What was the color of the nightie?
It was pink.
Pink.
It was pink. With lace. It was pink. It had lace. It was pink. It was pink flowers with green green stems. Broad background.
Oh my God. This is hilarious. IAS Association will cancel this
Completely.
podcast.
This guy is persona non grata, not only in Bangladesh but in India also.
So the IS officer was roaming around
The
a bike night.
fourth thing has become, we are now so used to just talking to each other, FaceTiming, video
Forget
calling
that.
and all of
WhatsApp
that.
only.
So, you know,
Text message only.
The excitement of seeing someone after a while is also gone. The novelty value is gone. Therefore, social interaction has reduced. Now, when you say the institution of marriage, I'm very sorry, but the so-called institution of marriage as we see it today is a very newfangled
Collapsing.
concept. No, it's a very newfangled concept. He says marriage has existed for 10,000 years. Okay, maybe about at least 6,000-7,000 years. It came about when the notion of sedentarism and property came about. Till then, kuch marriage tha nahi. ठीक है? Now, let's look at the way. चलो इन लोगों में कम से कम 7 बीबियां मैक्सिमम थी, 2 at one time plus concubines. हमारे में कोई लिमिट ही नहीं होता था. Till the Hindu Marriage Act came, there was no limit on the number of wives a Hindu could have. Okay. Christians and Jews.
Chinna Vidu.
Chinna Vidu and all of that. Not Vidu. You should know Vidu.
I'm Kannadiga,
Terrible,
so I
when
put a
people mispronounce my mother tongue. Just anyway.
Kannadigas add a oo for everything.
I know.
We add,
No, you don't.
You don't.
So we
Continue.
have Chikkamane,
Pray continue.
Chikkamane, Chikaramane, and with no reference to the Chikaramane.
Oh
we
yeah,
know.
our chicken money is he's Konkani.
No, so it's like it actually means just the smaller ghar, but doesn't mean the second house or the second wife's house.
Jews again could have many wives.
Yeah, okay.
David had.
Achha,
King David
let's
had
get
1,000
back to
wives.
now.
So now you are looking at a very modern concept of marriage, which is why. Look at why marriage came about. It was because of sedentarism and property. When the notion of fixed property and sedentarism, where you essentially become digital nomads and fly around the world.
There are many people, Abhijit, who get married because they want to buy property together, or they've been cohabiting, and so now they want to buy, they have FDs and stuff like that, and insurance,
now look,
joint
it
insurance.
Marriage has now become a convenience.
Yeah,
it is no longer
to some people it has.
It is.
Some people, but
Yeah.
I think that's a minority.
No, it's not.
And
it's
there
not
are
a
people.
minority,
There are people who are brainwashed into believing there is something terribly sacred about it and all of it.
Increasingly in middle class India also I'm noticing that everybody says that तुम्हारा concept of marriage and मेरा concept of marriage अलग है.
That, Smita, that could be that different people have different concepts of marriage, but what I think is common right now, and I think is happening in India or globally, is people are losing the basic friendship in marriage. I think that has become a terrible thing. Once you lose that ability to communicate and friendship in marriage, then the other things come in. You just want to slouch at home, order food from a app, watch TV. In my opinion, again, this is my opinion, watching Netflixing with your partner is the lowest form of entertainment. There's so much more things you can explore with your partner. So I just think people also lose with the more
instruments and gadgets and technology coming to our lives, the more we're getting disconnected from each other. I really feel that. How many times have we, like, I make an effort, not my wife, but with my mom, now that I at least take her out for once a day, once a week for lunch when I'm in Pune. Because I don't want to lose. I speak to her every day on WhatsApp, but I want to take her out. Because I think unless, same in marriage, you don't have that communication or that effort to put in with your partner, and you lose that element of friendship, I think it's terrible.
Yeah,
and again with Monica, I have a lot of fun. So
उसके
again,
साथ एक
maybe
और-
I'm lucky that I have a lot of fun with
उसके साथ
Monica.
एक और भी चीज है. देख, apart from all of that, and everything you said, I agree with. But I think and maybe this is just me, I think the single, because I think this, I give it to my wife. The single most important thing is, call it compromise, call it accommodation. The problem with a lot of people in this generation is, they want it my way or the highway. And if you're getting into, and this is any relationship, you call it a friendship, all of us out here,
Yeah.
you know, you have to accommodate each other. You have to understand, yeah, this guy is coming from somewhere. So I have to give him some space. Giving space in a relationship, okay, giving not just space, but also, you know, understanding the idiosyncrasies of the other person and adjusting to it.
That is a
the
political
single-
party, basically.
यार
So-
है, but
so finding
हो-
common
सब सारे
ground-
relationship ऐसे ही होते हैं यार. मतलब ये तो नहीं हो सकता ना that it will be only and there have been earlier, there have been families where it's there, you know, when they show in the
Very
old
yeah,
old style
patriarchal, where the
family, there's this
husband-
domineering father figure.
father-in-law or
I
mother-in-law.
can't dominate over my bloody kids, yeah, nowadays. They bullshit me all the time.
You know, there's
man.
this-
In any
Smita,
case,
but
otherwise
you know,
it's
Sushant,
just very
sorry,
comfortable.
I
मैं
don't see-
फोन को उठा के फेंक दूंगी.
I don't see it.
I was just
I don't-
fact checking
वो भी यही कर रहा
what
था.
I was about to say.
I don't see it.
That Portugal has 52% divorce rate.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't.
Ukraine and
highest
Russia
in-
would be higher.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't see it that way. I don't live for the future. I live it.
I need
नहीं,
to-
I नहीं
need
बोलना.
to take a.
हाँ,
I'm
चलो.
yeah, sorry.
Come back.
Come back.
भाग मत जा.
If I don't topple off like a Bollywood kind of a.
I live it on a daily
नहीं,
basis.
I का मत बात
No,
कर. Just
I'm-
talk generally
So,
about.
no,
I नहीं है because
No,
everybody has.
the reason I'm saying is, I think sometimes a lot of us spend too much time thinking about worrying about the future. I want to grow old with this person. I want to spend my old age. Why can't you make right now memorable? So, okay, there may be things I may not like and my partner may not like, you and your husband may not like, but there could also be things that you like doing together. Why don't you try and make the effort to discover that? Why are we so easy to just break that up and not discover?
It's the same with friendships
let me
also.
Just like
ask-
friendship. Like,
Let me ask.
like
Let me ask a provocative question.
Ask.
Don't you think the taboo on sex is no longer what it was?
Correct.
It isn't.
Absolutely.
So the
never
threshold for sex is so low now because of contraception or whatever.
Yeah.
The sort of crossing the limit, you know, crossing the Rubicon that was happening with an extramarital thing
Yeah.
is no longer what it was.
Yeah, but in
But why
Hindu
limiting it to
society,
sex?
in Hindu society, in any case, this Victorian values
Yeah.
which have come in,
yeah,
now-
right? This is this
यही
is
तो मैं बोल
recent.
रहा हूँ. This is why this institution
Look,
of marriage.
No,
I
so
don't
which
buy
is something which people, for example, in the Indian right wing, they also need to understand this. You know, they are far more Victorian and in a sense far more reactionary.
Yeah.
जो the mullah type
Yeah, yeah.
जो होते हैं in their outlook
Correct.
than what Hindu society
Actually
is
is,
traditionally.
yeah.
In Hindu society, sex was always treated as a very natural
You know, the
thing and never a taboo.
When I was in.
not just natural. It was celebrated.
Celebrated.
Yeah,
Celebrated.
exactly.
The Amarapali, the story of Amarapali and things like that is the courtesan was considered an extremely
No,
high.
even now,
this thing.
we don't get offended if our rulers have, you know, have non-formal,
have multiple
yeah,
wives.
non-formal relationships.
Beep the country. So when Malaysia is being quoted, beep the country. Was being,
Has Anand disappeared for good?
No.
Somebody
He'll
save
come.
him.
don't beep this. So when Malaysia is being
கக்கூஸ் பண்ண போயிருக்கானா
He's
மூத்திரம்
coming.
பெஞ்சிட்டு
He's
வராங்க.
coming.
Ayo.
So when Malaysia is being quoted, there he comes.
அவன் கேட்டான் எனக்கு அவனுக்கு புரிஞ்சுதா?
Of course he understood.
இல்ல அவனுக்கு
Yes,
ஒண்ணுமே
yes.
புரியாது.
That I disagree. The last
புரியாது.
part I disagree.
என்னையா சொன்னேனா?
What did I
புரிஞ்சுதா?
say? He's asking, what did I say? Did you understand?
Yeah,
Yes.
hydrogen, helium, lithium, beryllium.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah, I'll just tell you a quick thing. So, Malaysia was being courted by both US and Russia in the 80s. Russia decided with its KGB to get their air hostesses to seduce their prime minister. And the prime minister was going into election. They video recorded it, and then the ambassador went to meet the prime minister, said, you come in the Russian camp or else we will put these videos out. So the prime minister looks at the videos with him, all the white Russian women. He says, can I have a copy of this? I will only make this public.
Yeah.
It's actually true.
It's actually true.
He says, please give me a copy of this.
Can we move to two topics which we have to discuss before we wind up? One is Asim Munir and the second is Putin visit. I want you guys, shall we begin?
And the Karnataka bill.
And the
Free speech
Karnataka bill, yes.
Which
Okay,
is the
DK
bill?
Shiv Kumar, we can go on and on. The Karnataka privacy bill, which he's
Oh,
talking
no, the
about.
hate speech.
Hate speech, wohi, private speech. Huh. So shall we begin with Pakistan and Asim Munir or shall we begin with Putin? Putin visit?
Putin is more relevant.
Have you realized with Putin visit, America totally blanked it out? American
Yeah.
media,
Yeah.
social media, totally.
No, but listen, I was in Europe during those days when Putin was visiting out here, and the worst time to go to Europe for an Indian, because we don't understand it from sitting in India, and maybe there's an element of, European exceptionalism that why are the Indians,
bringing the
dealing
war
with,
criminal.
exactly.
bringing-
But from, if you look at it from a European point of view, they are actually in a very bad place. They see themselves, in a sense, being abandoned by the Americans. And they see countries like India, which they thought should be standing with them, dealing with the Russians. And we try to explain to them why, dealing with Russia is an important thing for India. So I think, but it was not very well received, at least. And I can tell you about
Understandable.
NATO, and I can tell you about, because we were in Belgium, about NATO and the EU. They just don't like.
That is where he was. And we thought he's
No,
gone
I
to find
told
out whether Asim Munir is alive or dead.
No, Asim Munir is alive
Or
until
Imran
he's going
Khan
to
is
be dead
alive or
one day. Everybody will be dead, but he might be dead sooner than later. The point is, but in the Europeans at least, they have a very strong sentiment. They are feeling very insecure. They feel that maybe if they have another 10 years or so, because now they are pumping in a lot of resources into building up their own military muscle, whether they will ever be able to use that military muscle, we don't know. But I think the good thing, and the world is very fortunate that Europe is so weak right now. Otherwise, we would have seen a world war. Because the European, if you look at the mind in Europe right now, the mindset in Europe, they are incensed by what Russia has done, perhaps disingenuously. The Europeans have done their own, these games of destabilization in the Middle East, in Libya, in Syria, in all these other places. Of course, they try and rationalize it differently. But the kind of demonization they've done of Russia, they would have gone to war with Russia if they could do it. The fact that they can't do it, I think the world can heave a sigh of relief that this war will hopefully not go beyond what it is right now. Otherwise, it would be hell for everybody.
Okay, so how many of you read Tavleen Singh's article? Did you feel uncomfortable with the laying of red carpet out for Putin?
No,
Not at
you
all.
didn't. Any of you
Not
felt
at
it?
all.
Listen,
Of
every
It
country
has
has
to
dealt.
do.
America used to deal. You remember there's Kissinger's famous thing, he's a bastard, but he's our bastard. He was talking about Manuel Noriega at that time, but who was a drug dealer, come the president of Panama. Every country.
He became a
has had
drug
to-
dealer once he fell foul of the Americans.
Yeah,
Until
first
then, he was a favorite.
But
He was a favorite.
the point is, every country deals with dictators, rolls out the absolute red carpet for them,
Was that
no
Papa
questions asked. So, I think, so to be fair to Tavleen, she's in a very Europeanized, anglicized mindset, right? The European conversation is what these things do.
Drives that, yeah.
Drives that. Whereas for us who actually work in foreign policy, we're like, boss, Putin is nothing compared to some of the people America has entertained in its past. And if they didn't have an issue doing it, I sure as hell
Yeah,
don't.
tell me
Sir,
something.
मैं
One second.
Let me go to.
Pardon me.
Let me go from
Jahan,
Putin to
एक मिनट,
Putin से नहीं. Putin
एक
से
मिनट,
ममदानी पे आते हैं.
On
एक
this issue,
minute, हाँ.
tell me something. If the Americans can invite a criminal like Asim Munir
That was my point.
and Shahbaz Sharif to the White House, and give them the treatment and build them up. My favorite field marshal, etc., etc. When everybody knows that you don't have a democracy in that shithole country.
Correct.
Then tell me something. Why are the people in India, having these crazy kind of things about what should we have done? Not rolled out a red carpet for Putin.
I think the Tavleen's piece was brilliant, except for the beginning, the middle, and the end, which is typical Tavleen.
And the lines in between.
Ignorant.
I kind of
Tavleen makes a lot of sense more often than not.
Zero.
No,
Zero.
Sorry, I disagree.
No.
Every piece I can bring out at least 10 factual inaccuracies,
Okay, fine.
illogical,
Okay.
irrational. So
Just one thing.
anyway.
But we still read.
I want to take what he said forward. That was exactly my point. Asim Munir has threatened to nuke us. Don't edit this.
He's threatened
to nuke
the world.
half the world. Let's be clear on it. That son of a and I hope he dies soon. No, I'm very clear on this.
Gali Das kaun hai bhai?
No, sorry.
I object to the use of the word bitch.
Yeah,
Dogs
bitch,
are very nice.
Yeah, they're very nice.
You can't call
This asshole.
Ilan Omar got called a bitch by Donald Trump this morning.
Yeah, this morning.
I strongly condemn President Trump. He should have called it a sow.
But anyways, he wants to nuke half the world and he's dining with President Trump. If that works in President Trump's interest, Putin is not doing anything bad to me or my country.
Yeah.
I am going to deal with it and so be it. I will deal with who I want to deal with. And President Trump has to accept this reality. I'm not spoiling my relations with President Trump. I'm not spoiling my relations with the European nations. I'm clear. I'm done with
मैं
this.
ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि it's taken me 5 or 6 months, but I have kind of rationalized what I wanted Modi to do, and the fact that he hasn't done it, I have rationalized it. Which is कि मेरा मन नहीं करता ये ट्रम्प का, अब वो सी वाला वर्ड यूज मैं नहीं कर सकता, द स्टूपिडिटी ऑफ ट्रम्प, और जो इलीगल एक्शंस हम पे कर रहा है उसको साले को जवाब दें, मेरा मन करता है यार. तो मुझे लगता है कि
strongly object to the world president being criticized in these terms.
नहीं, कोई
No,
जरूरत
there
नहीं
is
है.
nothing illegal about what he's done. It's all legal.
देखो यार,
I will not tolerate any criticism of Trump.
टैरिफ लगाए थे ना, चाइना ने एक दिन में रिस्पॉन्ड करके उस पे रेसिप्रोकल टैरिफ्स लगा दिए, उसने 150% से 30% पे ले आया.
China controls the chips.
Yeah.
यार
No, 1 minute.
No, they're not
On the chips
Not chips.
today,
The
Trump
raw
has
material.
given
Trump
Nvidia
has
वाले
told
दिए.
Nvidia
raw material.
कि तुम जाके
China को
दे दो. China says नहीं चाहिए boss. Amazing. Look at that flex. When they turn around and say कि नहीं चाहिए, क्योंकि they are giving push to their own domestic industry and
हम
saying
क्यों नहीं
बनाओ.
flex कर रहे हैं? ये मैं
नहीं यार,
सोचता
देखो
था.
मैं पता
मैं
क्या
ये
है?
सोचता.
I'll tell you the reason why. I'll tell you the reason why. You can do it if you want to, on a range of
If
issues.
you had
But-
industrialized.
But your problem is that, and I think the Prime Minister knows the people of this country better than you and I. जहाँ पर जो रोना धोना शुरू होगा ना, नहीं, I'm
Caffeine
telling
ज़्यादा
you
हो
this.
गया.
That, so for example, the moment you were to start imposing reciprocal tariffs on the Americans and saying I'm going to push back on you, right? What would happen? There would be somebody who would suffer out here. Obviously, because whenever there's a trade war, something like this happens. That Rona Zona which would happen out here would be of a kind that the government will say, yeah, forget it, I don't want all this Rona Zona. Right?
Okay.
In China, do you think if the Chinese government retaliates against the Americans, do you think there will be any Rona Zona?
No.
They will suppress it completely.
Let me ask you all a simple question to back this up. Do you remember IC 814?
हाँ, exactly.
याद है क्या हुआ था कि all the families went and camped outside the PMO.
और ये
All the
छाती
attention,
पीटनी शुरू कर दी थी
90% of the coverage was the families outside the PMO, not the actual decision making and things like that. Why? You can't deal with one hijacking. You don't have the stomach to.
But this was these tariffs were a good opportunity for India to seriously reform and get into the
But
game.
I think
And
it
we-
is happening.
I think
it's
we've done
happening.
a
Had
lot.
so many
Okay,
opportunities.
now
I think they've done
the question
they've
about
done-
that the government of India gets scared about it. My thing is that that's the reason why Modi Shah get voted to power again and again in every election, because the people of India think that these guys have a vision for the country. They will bring those reforms in. If not Sidhi Taur se, like the farm laws didn't happen, then backdoor entry. If the what's it called, NRC didn't happen, then maybe the SIR is happening. कुछ ना कुछ करके ये लोग करेंगे जरूर. So that is why they keep winning. So you know this thing that हम लोग नहीं कर रहे हैं. I don't think it's
You're
true.
so right, because Milind Deora told me, I'm quoting and I've told him that I will quote him. He told me something very important. At that time he was in Congress. He said, and this was COVID, we had gone to negative GDP
All
growth.
your friends have left Congress.
I'm the lone warrior fighting. But he was the, when we had gone to negative, our GDP had gone to negative. He said, if we don't come up with a vision plan for the Congress and the country right now, yes, Prime Minister Modi is under pressure, COVID, the deaths, the economy's collapse, but the only person the country will trust to bring it back will be him.
Yeah.
So either we have a plan B for what we would do, because we have to oppose the BJP, right? So this is our plan and this is how we get the economy. Or if we miss that opportunity and we get onto stupid wars like the vaccine war, this is Modi's vaccine, etc., we will lose that opportunity and we won't come back to government. And he's proved right. And that's what happened. So when the economy went at minus whatever during the COVID, they were whatever, the people of India still trusted it. Okay, maybe this is the man who may still help us recover. So that's what you're saying, and I think I see that at some point that we need to have an alternative policy.
I've had to
have
of divide my apprehensions regarding Modi. With, let's put it this way, I always believe that a politician will always, rationalize his decision. If it's a right decision, if it's a wrong decision, he would always say, I have rationalized, this is the reason why I've taken it. So many times I've disagreed with the decisions that Modi has taken. लेकिन इसमें अब मुझे लगने लगा है कि यार ये actually विष पी रहे हैं. He is drinking the poison.
Of the insults.
Yes.
Of Trump.
Yeah, Trump or Joe. But
tell me, if you were Prime Minister Modi, you are the Prime Minister of this country, would you at this point waste trying to take on Trump or say, look, 2.5 years he's going to go,
not about,
let me set a roadmap. What is the better option?
It's not just about the 2.5 years, because you don't know what will follow, right? And I would imagine that some of the changes that have come about in the US are going to be long lasting. They are not going away. And they don't change their, the world has changed, whether we like it or not. You need to start going to Europe and talking to people out there to see how he has actually blasted the world apart. I don't know.
Insecure.
Huh?
But at this moment,
everybody is very insecure. Everybody is very insecure. Everybody is incensed. Everybody is incensed. Everybody is looking for options. I think, look, I would agree with the way Modi has gone about things. I think he has come to the conclusion that no great purpose will be served by bad-mouthing, joining the issue with this guy right now. Let me play it cool. Let me try and provide whatever relief I can to the people who will suffer. I don't know how much they've managed to do, how much they will manage to do. Some of the reforms which have come, and although GST is not a reform really, it's something which should have happened. It's not technically a reform, but the labor reforms have come.
But for a party which doesn't have complete majority, it's a coalition government.
यार हिंदुस्तान में रिफॉर्म करती है वो पार्टी है जिसके पास majority नहीं है.
Complacent हो जाते हैं.
But he is managing to do that.
So in a cricketing terms,
can we go
like
to
a test match,
the free speech one before we conclude? वो free speech वाला जो कर्नाटका में हुआ है वो उसके बारे में भी बात करें.
This is quite a possibility. This might be our last Samosa podcast without
this
caucus. Yes.
This year.
Without
can we make fun of everyone?
This is our last Samosa podcast without all of us being arrested by the Karnataka government for
this is what
hate speech.
And please allow me to read
Okay.
the draft, because I am so glad my good friend Tehseen is here.
Your good friend Tehseen is always.
पास ही नहीं करेंगे यार. We will. The governor will. अब तो वो भी कर सकता है. He will not sign it.
DK Shiv Kumar will mount a coup before that.
नहीं, the governor will not.
Any
Governor
person
will not sign it. This government will not let it get.
Any person who harms or incites harm or promotes or propagates hatred, bring out, obviously correction होना चाहिए language का, of his prejudice against or intolerance towards any other person because of one or more of the following characteristics or perceived characteristics of the victim or his or her family member or the victim's association with or support for a group of persons who share any one or more of such characteristics: religion, race, caste, community, sex, gender, sexual orientation, place of birth, residence, language, disability, tribe, shall be guilty of an offence of hate crime, उसकी punishment है non bailable. बचा क्या भाई?
सूली पे लटका दो.
वही.
मतलब perceived also.
Perceived. उसके बाद तो अभी और ये तो एक पढ़ा मैंने section.
हाँ.
What is going on यार? These are the people who have been saying कि मोदी हाँ कि मोदी फाशिस्ट है, ये मतलब मन करता है क्या बताओ यार.
Look,
अरेस्ट हो जाओगे तो
grandstanding.
Abhijit, it's not grandstanding यार. It
Who
tells
wants
you.
it? Does Karnataka want it? The point
The
is, why
cabinet
are
has
they
passed
doing
it today.
Yeah. So who wanted
Yesterday.
it? Who wanted this law?
They are grandstanding because they want to create that situation where they pass it by that overwhelming majority they have in the assembly, and the governor will not give. There is a reason this has come after the Supreme Court judgment on the powers of the governor. The moment they read the judgment on the powers of the governor, they realized they could play this trick, and that is what they're doing.
No, see, when
But
you
where are the activists यार? Where is the Hindu newspaper? Where are all those guys? who-
free speech
Activists, but we
वाले.
all know they're all rented
नहीं यार
activists.
तो बात तो फिर बोलना चाहिए
वही है ना
they are
फिर.
rented activists. So that is what we should bring
But
out.
we have always been seeing they're rented
But
activists.
see, when a government brings about this kind of thing,
अच्छा
कौन
इसमें
सा
पॉडकास्ट
section
के
है?
सेक्शंस हैं.
हाँ.
पॉडकास्ट के.
कौन
कुशल
सा
मेहरा चिल्ला रहा था.
section
उसमें.
of
Everyone will be in
section of
jail
society?
यार if
Section
this
of
gets
podcast.
passed. It's crazy.
And the problem with this is, and again, I'm going to be critical of this. This is applicable.
Thank you,
though
yeah,
it's a-
I mean-
though it's a- no, because I'm not a hypocrite.
No,
And
but
so
go-
I can go in jail.
प्रॉब्लम इज तू तो कह देता है
It's-
तेरे जो दोस्त हैं वो कांग्रेस में वो इसको पास
वो
कर रहे
मेरा
हैं.
दोस्त नहीं है, उसका बाप उसके डैडी कांग्रेस के बड़े नेता है, बट वो मेरा दोस्त नहीं है. प्रॉब्लम ये
किसकी
है
बातें कर रही है मेरे को समझ
जिन्होंने बिल
हाँ,
ड्राफ्ट
मैंने-
वो अगर नाम लेगा तो जेल में जाएगा.
none of these nepo kids. But point is this: CM and deputy CM.
We
are
will all
mass
talk
leaders.
in third person.
CM and deputy CM are like it or leave mass lead. But the point in this is applicable all across the country. So what happens
Yeah.
is, if the podcast may be shot in Rajasthan,
Exactly.
but
Police will
because
come.
it's viewed, the podcast is viewed in a particular.
but how
state.
can
भाई वो अजीत भारती को
हाँ,
नोएडा
हाँ,
पुलिस
हाँ.
नोएडा तक आ गई थी कर्नाटका पुलिस पकड़ने के लिए.
हाँ.
यार देखो ऐसे है
you
कि
have to
दिस इज
stand up for free
एप्लीकेबल ऑल ओवर द कंट्री इन द सेंस कि तुम कहीं पे भी कोई एफआईआर करवा दो.
कोई भी.
तुम कल को रामेश्वरम में जाके
100%.
यू नो यू फाइल एन एफआईआर
But
अगेंस्ट
then
मी इन
court ने बोला है ना,
रामेश्वरम.
you club it together and it
No,
comes
that is
in.
if no, but so first I will go to Rameshwaram, na, then I'll go to Guwahati, then I'll go to Cuttack, then I'll go to
भारत ब्रह्म.
multiple हुआ तो
भारत जोड़ो
no
यात्रा.
one second अगर that is अगर multiple हुआ, अगर एक ही हुआ FIR for example बेंगलुरु में, then you have no choice going to Supreme Court will say go to a trial court there, if you don't get relief come to us. That is the problem is if there's multiple, actually it's not a problem
Let's
because
not
Supreme
talk
Court
about
will
the
club it.
technicalities यार.
No,
ये देखो
I'm
इनके
saying
दिमाग में क्या चल
no,
रहा है
I'm
कि they drafted this.
I'm saying in fact technicalities is good because if it's multiple, there won't be an issue. Supreme Court will club it.
तो यार ऐसा करो ना, फ्री स्पीच का क्लॉज हटा दो. मतलब ऑनेस्टली मतलब
Ending,
just
I thought
I don't do sugar.
drop the pretense. Thank you.
Thank you. Please योगी जी प्लीज आप मुझे कॉफी दे दीजिए. आपका नाम भी माशाल्लाह क्या अच्छा नाम है योगी जी.
So this has to be
टिकट नहीं मिलेगा.
this has to be struck down.
नहीं नाम अच्छा है.
And it is
नहीं, योगी जी
troubling
बोल
that
दिया
the cabinet has approved it, and nobody in the Congress ecosystem, none of those historians and all those journalists, they're writing about it. Pratap Bhanu Mehta and everyone who writes editorials about free speech, fascism, Salman Rushdie, सारे के सारे
अरे
चुप.
भाई, this is what they did with the communal violence bill,
हाँ,
right?
correct.
This is exactly what they did with that. That they want to target a particular community.
Clearly.
They want to target the Hindu community. Bottom line. This is the Congress party's thing, that they want to target the Hindu community, and then they wonder why they are seen as an anti-Hindu party.
In this particular bill, it may not just be anti-Hindu. That argument may not come here. But the question that remains is because that argument is self-defeating.
Are they going to prosecute, for example, my
Maulana.
friend?
If I say
for hate speech.
If I say
Maulana
Hindus
for
are the
hate
worst
speech.
of creatures, where am I prosecutable? I am, according to this.
Because he's offended Hindus.
But what you're quoting is not how it's written in that.
If I
And they
quote it
would-
verbatim,
So perceived
हाँ,
है,
so-
what are you saying? When you
No,
say
no,
that?
it is written as that.
But if you're quoting it, I haven't read the bill. I've read some of the parts of that bill. I haven't read the bill.
Look, I
What
can
are
always
the exceptions?
book- I
I
can
don't
always
know
book
because
you.
by that thing everything. But
I
should
can
we get
always-
into legislation?
Why
You
were
can
you
always
quoting something?
I agree with you.
When you
But
were
you are
quoting
not a
something,
free
you were
speech,
creating hate.
but
So I can book
but
you on
isn't
that.
intention the most important thing?
That is the intention.
Not of the law.
How
of-
do you
of how do you
prove intention?
How do you
How
prove
do you
intention?
prove
So
Yeah.
therefore, I'm
intention?
saying, should we get into law making on this? For me, as a Democrat, I am very scared when laws
वही
like
नुपुर
this.
वाली बात हो गई ना. How do you prove intention?
My life has been a
you know,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what happened with this whole Nupur thing in my case.
आज बताई दे भाई.
आज,
You
no,
suffered.
I have to. I'm
You have
telling you
suffered.
how I've suffered.
And Congressists don't realize.
I'll tell you how
Right
I've
wingers
suffered.
don't realize that
I-
he has been bearing the.
I stood up for Nupur as I stand for anyone. Free speech is period. Like, I think this is wrong, so I stood up for Nupur. This one guy said something, some tweet something, which got quoted on a YouTube video which somebody in New Mewat saw. Now the person in New Mewat goes and threatens another podcaster in his house in Gurugram for podcasting me, saying he wants to blow me up and blast and all of this. Turns out this guy is actually from Bangladesh in New Mewat, and these guys are roaming around with a weapon to get through me, including they broke at my house in Delhi. Yes, it's on video. They came into my house. I was lucky that day I was in Pune. Why do I have security? These are of the first order. These are absolute fundamental rascals who, and he goes to this podcaster's house. This podcaster's interviewed many people and says, I will do jihad.
Has he been arrested?
No, he fled away to Bangladesh or wherever he came from.
So this whole
This is
thing,
true.
we
This is
just
no
have
matter.
to face it now
In
that
fucking
this
Gurugram.
conflict is not in conflict zones anymore.
No, it's
this whole thing which has happened in Haryana with Al Falah, so we can't take this lightly. This new Mewat, Haryana has to wake up.
Terrible.
They have to wake up to the fact that this conflict has moved now. It is no longer the self-radicalization thing which is happening.
It's not that.
It's never
it
been
has-
It's
yeah.
never been self-radicalization.
Yeah, this whole, we have to now think, you know, the way they were going
Today
about
they
it.
caught
it's like-
another Kashmiri doctor, by the way.
Huh.
This NIA.
Huh. So
In the
that
same case.
Yes.
plot is not over as yet. Those cars, nobody knows as yet kya hua hai. It just, you know, every state government has to wake up to this, that now it's this hybrid war, it's a grey zone, and each state is now something that they have to do.
Nobody
But
wakes
the
up to
access
it.
to getting weapons and the access to making explosives is a lot easier now because of social media and YouTube. It's very easier. It's much
Platforms
easier.
have to
आसान
take
भी नहीं है।
responsibility
वैसे
also.
तू करके देख।
अमोनियम
मैं
नाइट्रेट का ना 5 किलो से ज्यादा अगर आप लोगे तो आपको पुलिस को इन्फॉर्म करना
I
होता है।
agree with
ये
you.
3000
हाँ।
किलोस लेके
हाँ।
घूम रहा है।
एक सेकंड नहीं पहले तो 3000 किलो एक्सप्लोसिव्स था 3000 किलो अमोनियम नाइट्रेट था
Ammonium
अमोनियम
nitrate.
उसमें था।
हाँ उसमें अमोनियम नाइट्रेट था बट आपने 4 किलो ले लिया इसने 4 ले लिया इसने
हाँ।
4 ले लिया इसने 4 ले लिया उसने 4 ले लिया हो गया ना
तो भाई
50 किलो
500 लोग भी तो हो गए ना फिर।
हाँ,
तो
exactly.
वही
It's not 1%
That's
then.
what we are talking, the
But that-
network.
It is a
Let's
massive
talk about the bigger issue here. If you go to inform the police कि मेरे पास 6 किलो ammonium nitrate हैं, the policeman won't even waste his time putting it on
Because
note.
crime hua nahi hai. If somebody has stored, the way our criminal law is, that storing ammonium nitrate to the tune of X number of kilos, not X into 100, but if I see somebody, anybody's farm out here will have 10 kilos out here. अब वो 10 kilo plus उसका 10 kilo plus इसका 10 kilo put together becomes something serious. They should have seen that. They should
But
have
see,
known.
they did.
Yeah.
Look,
the
what
great
happened in
operation.
Delhi was a huge intelligence. People
Success.
died, but
Yeah.
it was a success.
It was a
Let's
success,
of the
yes.
Jammu and Kashmir police, Haryana
Yeah.
police, and we must give Jammu
Yeah,
and Kashmir
we must
police,
give them
including
credit,
that,
boss.
that SP who reacted on posters being put up.
Yes.
On basic posters he reacted.
No,
So-
Smita is making another point. The fact, of course, they cracked it, very thankful. But 3000 kilos of explosive got stored at some place, yeah. That was not detected.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is
That is what
so.
she's
We
trying
have
to
to-
say.
what
we
I'm
have
saying
to-
was
is,
detected. That
after
is
a
the
while.
point.
No,
Later
it
on,
wasn't.
while it was
Yeah.
being
It
stored, it
wasn't.
And
It wasn't
remember, the
detected. He's
most
right.
important thing in all of this was the ricin lab.
Yeah.
Chemical
Yeah, वो तो
weapons
अलग ही है.
being made.
No, that was separate.
But
That
that's a
was good. That
separate
was
one.
good.
But that is
not
also
the case,
continue.
Abhijit. In this particular case, they discovered this
Later on.
afterwards.
Yeah.
While
After
they were
the
started-
poster.
हाँ,
The
after they
posters
were
came
chasing
out in
the
After
Jammu
the
guys.
posters.
Let the
The
posters
point
come.
is that this woman sitting in Lucknow gets radicalized, becomes part of the women's JEM, then starts converting other people to become part of that network. There are other doctors who come. There's a Maulana who comes. They all get together. They start buying ammonium nitrate. That is sent out. Cars are bought. Cars are changed. Woman abandons her husband with 2 little children. and the husband doesn't even question कि वो कहता है कि वो चली गई थी, she went off to, she wanted to go to Australia. उसका भाई
बोलने वाला मैं चुप ही हो जाता हूँ.
I know what this guy was saying.
मेरे को जो अभिजीत के साथ होता है ना, I'll be accused of misogyny and all kinds of.
Husband was
the brother lives in the same lane, doesn't realize the sister.
Can I just say that I am not a misogynist? I am the biggest proponent of female equality here because I treat women exactly the way I treat men.
And you look like a mermaid, right?
Dekh bhai, I can't be, because I have 2 daughters, both of them very assertive, and both of
Not
them
allowed to talk about children without taking their permission, please.
No,
So
I'm
you
not
cannot.
talking about them. I'm just saying that they bully me all the time. So
I have personally seen them bullying me.
yeah.
Yes, so have I.
But his daughters are very
And I love that,
They're very
absolutely.
sweet. I met one of them at your party.
Huh.
Very sweet. I mean, good job. You've really
Yeah,
done.
they're very sweet to other people, not to their father.
But isn't that with all kids? Isn't that with all kids?
That's true.
I think my mom will say the same.
Yeah.
Huh.
We need to have a serious discussion
Oh,
as a society
sarcasm
on
से
radical.
एक बात बताना चाहता हूँ. I recently got invited to एक नया podcast कुछ शुरू किया है.
You're on every podcast.
नहीं, this called Take That. It's a
The India Today.
India Today.
They've
So like
invited me.
15 students ask, one person. It's a format that was popularized in America, I think, जो भी है. तो ये सब वहाँ पे बैठे हुए थे और ये सारे all the kids, very well informed kids, I have to say. So they were itching कि इसकी hypocrisy पकड़ेंगे इस तरह. तो पुरानी tweets ला रहे थे और वो सब हो नहीं रहा था. तो आखिरी में एक कोई tweet लाया, where I had said that RSS is the Vatican. It's it's run by geriatrics. It's fooling the people, they're fooling the gullible and this that. And he said, so now you are supporting the RSS. Look what you've read. So basically 2015 में I got hold of मजाक में सुब्रमण्यम स्वामी का एक आर्टिकल जो उसने 2000 में लिखा था आरएसएस को फाशिस्ट और यू रेड दैट. तो मैंने उसकी ट्वीट वाइज पोर्शंस में 10 ऐसे ट्वीट्स बना के ट्वीट किया था. आई थिंक अराउंड द सेम टाइम दिस वाज सरकास्टिक ट्वीट. एंड दैट द पॉइंट आई एम ट्राइंग टू मेक इज पहले 10 मिनट उसको चलेगा ये बताने कि भाई पहले ये बता कि ये मेरी ट्वीट है कि नहीं है. कहता है ये स्क्रीनशॉट तो आपकी ट्वीट है. देन आई हैड टू गिव हिम द एंटायर थिंग कि नो, नाउडेज anybody can basically make an image and say कि this has been tweeted by people have done that for you. ANI का तो पूरा market चल रही है यार. Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah. And he refused to understand that, So I loved one aspect of it that the kids are so. I mean,
No, today there is an AIADMK person touching Nirmala Sitharaman's feet and she picks up her sari for him to allow him to touch her feet. It's an AI generated video.
Really?
Yeah. So, the whole thing is so bizarre that now half our work is to figure out ki AI hai ki real hai. Thank you for watching or listening to this edition.
Wish you a very happy new year.
Happy New Year. And do like, subscribe wherever you're watching this or hearing this. Namaste, Jai Hind, Happy New Year.
Happy Xmas, Happy New Year, and all the festivities. We're secular people.
Yes.
All festivities.
And hope you get your flights on time.
Okay, bye guys. Thank you.
Indigo is not going to sponsor you.
See you. Thank you, Smita ji.
Thank you.
Jai Ram ji ki
Jai Ram ji ki. Jai Ram ji. Click here to watch the previous episodes.